odor.
It's a monster.
Repulsed by the scent and the smell.
Hey, fatso.
The smell.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Town Fair Tire Studios. You can call us 617-779-0985. And for the love of Pete, watch us on YouTube. Watch us every morning on YouTube.
Right.
Subscribe to the 98.5 The Sports Hub YouTube channel. Jam that like button. Come on. Come on.
Jam it on the one.
Jam it on the one. What do you guys say at the party? We say jam it on the one. Oh, yeah? Well, listen. Jam it on the one. Jam it on the one. Wow. What's 1984, 1912? Yeah, he recorded you and played it back. Whoa! The Casio SK1, I believe, existed at that time. Let's not pretend that was... You needed to be in a recording studio for that. In 5th grade, my band, the Electric Potatoes, had a Casio SK1. And we had a song about a kid in our neighborhood, Billy Munson. And his mom would just kind of sit on their porch and smoke cigarettes. Not a worker. And we'd, Billy, get me a cigarette. Billy, get me a cigarette. We experimented with synths.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you sleep last night, Fred?
Oh, okay, so if you don't know what happened yesterday, Hardy came over. Nick was supposed to come over. Hardy came over. So I had a king-size bed and a full-size bed in my room. Full-size bed, mattress, box spring, king-size bed put together, but the mattress for it was downstairs. So we had to move the mattress and box spring up to the 3rd floor and put it in my son's like attic space. Then we had to
Loft space.
Thank you. Then we had to take the bed apart and then take the bed down to the basement and put that in storage. And then we had to get the mattress from the 1st floor and put it up to the 2nd floor into the master bedrooms. That's 4 floors. You're cooking around 4 floors. That's a lot of stairs.
Right. And a king-size mattress, and move the king-size bed over into the spot that was occupied by the queen-size, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So we by the time Nick got there, almost everything was done.
Huh.
Nicholas, again, was sleeping on the job. I don't know what he was doing.
You know what? He said something about maybe like going to the wrong house or stopping off to get some frozen yogurt. I don't know. He's the boy needs sustenance, right?
Oh, so he really said he went to get something to eat?
No, but I'm just assuming that he had been a couple hours since he had any gooey treats. So maybe he stopped somewhere and
oh, you think he saw an ice cream man and started like running after the truck?
Or maybe just a string cheese. I don't know what he needs to keep himself going to keep that physique.
Johnny used to eat string cheese.
With ranch dressing.
Ranch.
Yes. Yeah, so gross.
So don't worry about Nick. He didn't do much. But Hardy and I immediately got the full-size mattress and box spring upstairs. No problem.
Post haste.
No problem. Just our own bare hands. Then it turned out I did have socket wrenches. Who knew?
No. So
Actually, Hardy did.
no, I brought the 149-piece set, and then as I walk into Fred's house, which is very nice, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
I walk in and Fred's like, I do have wrenches, 3 of them. I'm like, yes, of course you do. It's a socket set, which is pretty much useless unless you're a mechanic. You don't need just sockets. You actually need the wrench too. So the kit that you bought had the wrenches in it, but whatever.
You know it did. Yeah. Now I know. The more you know.
Because you opened it.
I did open it. I opened it.
Fred, I'm in the same boat as you. I would have had the same problems. I wouldn't have known anything.
No.
So
no.
I'm
not a lot of.
Don't let Hardy shame you. I know exactly how you feel.
Not
I'm
a lot of
useless.
fixing stuff
No,
going on in my house.
Of course not.
And so we get those two things upstairs. Then Hardy's like, "Can you get me a Ziploc bag?" I go down and get the Ziploc bag. I come back up. Let's put it this way: there wasn't much. The bed, there wasn't a whole lot to the bed. Taking it apart,
8 bolts.
Hardy did it while Nick and I took the pieces down to the basement. So Hardy actually lucked out in that sense. And then
You know what? You're absolutely right. That is what I employ my son for now when I'm helping me, to help me do stuff. I don't need him to grab a wrench and start doing stuff. I just need him to do the back and forth stuff. That's the time killer. That's the stuff I don't want to do. Let me stay here and keep doing this.
You're the brains of the operation.
No, because I'm doing work too. But it's like, let me just stay here and do the bolts.
But you're the craftsman.
Right.
Like you're the mechanic. Like you're the guy at the pit stop that's actually doing the stuff, and we're just jacking the car up.
I believe in the trades. You and Nick yesterday would have been gophers.
Yeah, we would have been like undocumented laborers, and you would have been the guy who owns the business.
Some sort of an apprenticeship, let's call it, for you two yesterday.
Yeah, because you're saying that no contractors employ anyone that without proper paperwork.
Not to my knowledge. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Go to Sandy Springs, Georgia. Pop into Home Depot.
Okay.
And see if
Are
you
there
can.
laborers available for hire for per day?
If I told you there was 300 of them,
Oh, really?
I would not be exaggerating.
Wow.
And to the point where we just got in the habit of like getting guys to help. Like if you were moving, you would just like go to Home Depot and like pick up guys to help you move.
Right.
So we so we get that bed done lickety split. And then Hardy insists that we're going to use our raw man strength to get that mattress, 180-pound mattress, from the floor of the first floor to the bed on the second floor. And wouldn't you know it, Hardy and I did it.
Did you use the ball or the twine? Did
We
you
didn't
wrap
use
it
nothing.
around?
Nothing but our hands.
No twine was needed. And, two things. When you guys were taking the last of the old bed frame downstairs, I positioned the king-size frame in its new spot, which I was very proud of because I had that sumbitch centered perfectly.
Yeah,
in between your nightstands.
I didn't like where some of the outlets were, but then I saw that you had centered it. And so I was like, I'm not going to mess with Hardy's centering.
Well, yeah, you do that on your own time. I was proud of the fact that it was ready for mattress placement by the time you guys got back up there.
Yeah, you just had to slide it across the floor.
I did it perfectly, and I moved your little rug, too. So that was...
Oh, that rug.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the actual mattress, I will say this, Fred, not lying, that thing is heavy. I will also say, without hesitation, T-Bone could have lifted that thing himself and carried it up those 2 flights of stairs.
I would have paid to see that.
I told him so yesterday in a text. I'm like, hey, buddy, you're not needed today. Thanks anyway. He's like, how was it? I said, you could have done that mattress yourself, and even knowing it, I still would have been impressed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I know you could have done it, but I still would have liked to have seen it. And even though I know it would have happened, it still would have been impressive.
It's 180 pounds of dead weight that's in a wide cylinder. It was probably about like 3 feet long and then just thick as hell. So to wrap your arms around it, be able to get under it and lift that thing up, and then how awkward that would be to be able to carry that and then take it upstairs, like use your legs to take it upstairs. Because again, even if you thought you could grab 2 90-pound dumbbells,
oh yeah,
we all probably could, and then like farmer walk them. Like
yeah,
we could probably all do that. 90 pounds? How much do you think you could bench?
Oh, I put up 350 this morning. I mean, only 10 reps.
Well, you could certainly squat like over 200 pounds.
I think I could do like a pair of like 50-pound kettlebells. 90? I don't know. I've never tried.
All I'm saying is that it's not like ridiculous. Like you could squat more weight than like you could probably squat 180 pounds.
Sure.
But the thing is just that like picking it up and getting your hands under it and hoisting it up and then taking it up the stairs, like that's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's an awkward piece.
It was awkward. It was fine. We got it up there. And then once we had it on the bed, it is a marvel of engineering and packaging, which was a major, by the way, at Michigan State.
Everyone was a packaging
major. That's a big thing.
That's a major.
You learn how to, and you do very well. If you get a right job in packaging, you can do very well.
Well, that's the thing is that if you get a packaging job out of school, you get the highest paid salary out of anyone that comes out.
Yes.
But I think there might be a bit of a ceiling on that.
But, the fact that you could be making more than everyone else your first year out of college, that seemed like, as I don't know about you,
in your
John,
office, you put the Michigan State diploma on the wall. It's kind of like a doctor.
I myself,
look,
had
see?
tendencies to be short-sighted when I was 22, 23 years old. I was very jealous of Matt Iwaskowitz and his packaging major.
I knew a
these
lot of
people.
people that were packaging majors. Like Michigan State's one of the best programs, and the thing is that you would come out and make like $50,000. And so, like, everyone were packaging majors because you would get out. It was like a pipeline into jobs. And you would get a job right away and make $50,000. Go ahead.
I quickly just Googled packaging major in college. The first thing that comes up is the Michigan State logo.
Yeah.
The Spartan helmet.
It's
literally the first thing that comes up.
Oh, believe me, when you meet the second person who says they're a packaging major, you go, huh?
I have a nephew that goes to RIT, the Rochester Institute of Technology, and all his friends are in packaging.
Yeah,
they're graduating next week.
Wow, good gig.
Yeah.
But the way this thing opens up, and we got an email about this too, Fred, from Joe. He said, "Be careful with the mattress unroll. I cut mine open with a pair of kitchen shears, and the thing exploded like a life raft. Very lucky I didn't stick myself in the jugular. One of those moments you look back on and flinch. Wasn't I saying as you were cutting it open, Fred, be so careful."
You were too nervous. I had it all under control.
But when that thing popped, it is a sight to behold.
No, yeah, it fills with air. It's a thing of beauty.
And I bet you broke that thing in last night, didn't you, big boy?
No.
Oh.
Not yet. I haven't even slept on it.
Where'd you sleep last
I
night?
slept in the guest room in the basement.
Why?
Because I had to clean the sheets.
Oh,
Because I didn't have any toilet paper, so I had to use them, and then so I had to clean them.
Okay.
No,
Why don't
I
you use
clean.
you don't use bath mats when you run out of toilet paper?
I clean. Who has bath? I used those right when I moved in. So, no, I wanted to clean the sheets to soften them up.
That is very domesticated of you. Now, having said all this in your lovely home, and I'm glad the bed's done in it. By the way, total time of job 24 minutes.
Yeah,
I timed
that's
it.
awesome.
24 minutes. You could use maybe a second set of eyes to come in there and help you with some decorating.
Well, I haven't done any decorating.
Right, but how long have you been there?
A year and a little bit.
Okay, so it's been a minute.
Yeah, but the thing is, dude, I had to buy all new furniture. I had to I have 2 children with the room. Like, I think my theory,
Which is why you should hire somebody to come in and help you and just say, hey, we're going to put a shelf here, a thing there. Oh, I think we need some color on this wall. We're going to put a rug here. Can we rearrange this couch? Do you mind sitting this way? And it just needs a little something. It's not full-blown Robert De Niro in Heat. You're not living in a stark white, condo overlooking the Pacific, but it's close. It's stark white, and there's not a lot in there.
There's a full set of furniture in the living room. There's a TV in the living room. There's pieces on the wall. There's a fully formed kitchen. The basement is complete. Well,
Yes, they did finish constructing the kitchen before you moved in.
The basement. Well, no, but like with all the things that are needed in the kitchen, pots, pans.
You know what it needs,
charcuterie
Fred?
boards.
It needs a life. It
The
needs some
basement.
plants.
The
It needs some
basement is
color.
fully furnished because that's where I spend most of my time. So that's got the big screen TV. It's got jerseys on the walls. It's got shelving.
Did you see this? The basement? You didn't.
He didn't go down the basement. Nick saw the basement. Nick, the basement's finished. The basement's decorated.
Is the basement the nicest part of the home?
Well, I would say the living room is nice. It's just not lived in. No one ever spends any time in the living room.
You make sure that the place you spend the most time in looks the best.
Right,
And,
and
he has gone on and on about how much time he spends in the basement. And this is.
Well,
this
that's
is
where we watch. That's where me and the kids and the dog. That's where
everyone
we
goes
spend our time.
downstairs.
You
and-
saw how well decorated my son's room was.
No, it was dark. All I saw was the alcove leading into the room.
What was the alcove like?
I don't know.
It was like a museum. Did you see what he has on the walls?
I was working.
You didn't see what he has on the wall. It's fairly impressive what he did up there. You really didn't see what he has on the walls.
I was too focused.
Are you being serious?
Yes.
He has like 8 signed baseball and football jerseys. He's got like these like.
Oh, he's a
framed
regular
signs.
Martha Stewart. He's got signed jerseys. Shoosh.
I think it's cool. He's got a signed shoe, like on an angle that he mounted.
For a 15-year-old kid, that's pretty good, Hardy.
I mean,
I've back him up on this
I've
one.
taken girls up to that alcove and gone, look what my kid did.
Look, the
Did you make
Maurice
him-
Cheeks jersey on the wall.
Did you make him smell the shoe? Is that why you took him up there?
It's a D Brown pump that's signed.
From the 91 Slam Dunk competition.
Esoteric offered me a trade one time for it.
What did you have to give up for the D. Brown shoe?
Whatever it wasn't enough.
I'd love to know. Esoteric listens to the show a lot. And reach out, Eso. Tell us what you had to
I
give
can't
up.
believe
what
you didn't
what
see what
you
he
got back.
What he
for the
got
D.
had
Brown
going up
shoe.
there. It's like actually quite impressive. Like because he's got all like he's like his mother. He's like all like you'd love him. He spent like 4 days in a row like up there like 6-hour days.
Well, why don't you put him
Putting
to work? Put him to work in a few other areas. It's a beautiful home, and you're right. You do have some things. It just needs.
No, I know what
some
you're saying,
finish.
but my theory with that. Well, look, I just got a king size bed. Like okay, so let me give you a hint. When you're moving from a home where they kept all the furniture and all the stuff, and you move into a place that's bigger, you have to buy all new furniture, like all new beds. I had to buy 4 beds, and now 5. This is my 5th bed because I got rid of the other. I had to buy 5 beds, 2 couches. Like, I mean, dude, that chair in the living room. I had to buy every single piece of stuff in the kitchen.
Why is Dan O'Brien just back there nodding? Oh,
I'm
yeah.
with you, Fred. I know
Okay.
exactly what he's talking about.
Right. So let me get.
Thank you.
Let me get through this.
Okay.
So instead, not you, Hardy. You feel free to chime in because you know what's going on.
Yep.
So instead of going to Home Goods
Very
and
aware.
going like I'm gonna pick up like this like $8 garbage
Vase.
like vase
Right.
or like painting.
Fake flowers.
Like or like or like put some Holiday Inn painting behind my bed. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna like take this like because right now it's basically just a shrine to myself. Like I'll go on the stairs leading down to the basement because all I have is it's pictures of my kids basically. So like and then like articles that had been framed a long time ago, nothing recently. And I said like when something strikes my fancy.
Oh.
I'm going to get it and kind of do it because I did have someone help me decorate the living room and basement in that I had them like pick out the furniture with me and like make sure I wasn't doing anything dumb.
Okay.
I had to buy end tables. I had to buy the coffee tables. I had
Lamps
to buy
on the end.
every lamp
The
in there
little
I had to
pieces.
buy.
The little pieces are very annoying.
And
yes.
dude, I had like
Yes.
6 weeks to like get all that stuff. So like, it's not like it wasn't like I was like, ooh, like I wonder what I can. And to get something framed is $250. You have to understand. I spent $10,000-$15,000 on stuff that I just to like move in. So there you go.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not decorated better. Now I'm not being defensive either, but I'm just telling you my theory is that like I can't really A, afford, or B, I don't want to like have someone come in and go like, here's like I know it's not as homey as it
No.
could be.
And this is I put this on myself. You know, that's like what's your issue, Hardy? Is that I can't stand and can't live with unfinished anything, right?
Yeah.
And even if it means not perfect or not something I don't want to live with for the rest of my life, it's like I can't stand not having a table in that corner. I'm going to go get something right now just to have something
Right.
there, so it can be done. so the project can be done.
Wow, you're a treat. You must just be the fun
Well,
person to,
You know
hang,
something,
to hang
O'Brien?
out with.
Let
right?
me tell you something. When it comes
Wow.
to household chores and like doing something to completion and making sure it's done and cleaned up afterward and everything is
Takes him
tidy,
about 5 seconds.
I am a freaking joy to be around because no project I ever do in my house is like, oh, I got to finish that this weekend. No. I keep doing it until it's done and cleaned up and put away
Oh,
and
your
it's
kids
finished.
must love that. Yep. And then
I don't force it on anyone else. I'm
don't
saying
so you do it all yourself.
when I'm doing something, even simple tasks, I do it and it's done and it's completed. Other people in my house have no problem doing something halfway and then leaving it. Now I'll finish that this weekend. And I just take a deep breath. I'm like, that's them. That's their journey. That's not mine. But if it were to drive anyone else nuts like it drives me nuts, I don't put that on anybody else because I finish when I start.
How's that journey?
Okay?
Good. Yep. Okay.
The journey is great. I'm very happy.
But then I will say this is that it was so easy to like do all that stuff that Hardy afterwards was like, what else has to be done? And I'm like, well, I have these shelves. But I was like, oh boy, I mean, it's great that he wants to do it, but then he was like, do you have a stud finder? And I'm like, what do you think?
Well, no, and that was again my fault. I didn't bring my stuff. I forgot. So I need a level and a stud finder. But next time,
You going back?
With
You
a
going
level,
back to finish some other stuff?
to do those floating shelves? You betcha.
All right.
I love a
Yeah.
floating
All right, so
shelf.
every Friday, every Thursday at Fred's. Just go back in next
Thursdays
Thursday.
and Fridays, Tuesdays with Maury's, and Thursdays with Fred.
Right.
All right, so we've avoided the pain and the air.
I'd rather keep talking about the shelves, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
I mean, this is not.
It's
good.
just gross. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
so
not-
gross.
what a punch in the face to stay up until 11 o'clock to watch that.
Yeah, it's not.
My
it's
God.
not, it's not ideal. All right, your Bruins lost
Yeah.
last night. Your Bruins. I take my hands off of them. We will be back in just a moment.
of last night.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, and what a game last night, huh, guys? What happened, Hardy?
Well, the Bruins were in Toronto with a 3-2 series lead after failing to close them out at TD Garden in Game 5. So, Game 6 last night in Toronto. Once again, we were discussing just briefly as to who would get the start in that, and that was, in fact, Jeremy Swayman, as most of us predicted, and trying to go with Linus Ullmark at this point would seem to be an exercise in futility. On the other end of the ice, also making it a consecutive start, was Jonathan Wall. And last night, what's that? Oh, Joseph, excuse me. Jonathan Joseph, whatever.
They're all biblical, baby.
Well, you didn't really need to see him a whole lot. Here's a neat highlight for you.
High slot now, McAvoy twirls up top. Shoots, deflected, and Wall to stop as Pastrnak got it to change directions.
I believe that is the second stop he made, and that was at the halfway point of the game.
Yes.
That was, that was when the second shot went on goal for the Bruins about 9 minutes into the second period.
The Bruins
last night.
displayed a skill I didn't know they had last night. They attempted about 80,000 shots, and none of them got through to the goaltender.
Yes.
Toronto, they consistently were able to shoot into the bodies of their own people and the Toronto Maple Leafs standing in front of Joseph Wall. They were credited with one shot in the first 37 minutes. First 27 minutes of game time.
But
you realize how hard that is to do?
John, not against an elite defense and goaltender.
Right.
Which was the problem with Toronto all season, is that they have been elite.
Yes.
Their goaltending has been elite. Their defense has been elite.
Right.
The problem with the team was they had put too much into the defense.
Well,
that's not actually the problem. The problem was that they were supposed to be terrible on defense and have bad goaltending.
Which is why they have a new goaltender midway through the series.
And which is also why, their best player, again, didn't play. The talk a week ago was how they had to redo everything and get rid of everybody, and this is the exact same thing that happened last year.
They were going to blow up the roster 3 days ago. 3 days ago, Toronto was going to blow up the roster and start again next season.
What blows my mind is how they're able to get seemingly everybody in between the shooters and Wall last night. If you're Toronto, right? The defensemen are back. The forwards are back. They're clogging up passing lanes. They're clogging up the shooting lanes. But somehow they're still able to regroup, get the puck out of their own zone, and have plenty of chances on net against Swayman, who thankfully was good again last night.
Now Nylander shoots, blocked, gets it back with 5. Nylander to the dot, backhand. Swayman the save, the rebound. Swayman the stop. The rebound is available, and that's going to do it for the first period.
3 saves in a row because Swayman was on his game. How they have anybody to go into the offensive zone after they're all camped out in front of Wall, I don't know. They were skating with more purpose, more intensity. They were faster. They were getting to the puck, and they were getting the puck out. And once again, as Jaffe told us a couple of days ago, they were getting through the neutral zone without a lot of resistance from the Bruins.
And they started better again. Now, the Bruins played a little bit better last night than they did in Game 5, but once again, Maple Leafs come out, they're flying all over the place, and the Bruins seem puzzled as to how to answer any of this. Why can't the Bruins start on time? You'd think they'd learn their lesson from Game 5. Why can't the Bruins be the team that's all over the opposition at the beginning in an elimination game where they're leading? Why can't the Bruins put their foot on the other team's throat and step down? No, instead, they get punched in the face 3, 4, 5 times. Oh, we're in a playoff game. Sure, maybe we should start playing. And that didn't happen again last night. As a Bruins fan watching this game, I'm expecting them to be down 3, 4, 5-0. That's what it felt like.
Well,
again.
The game was scoreless until that magical time that I tried to tell you about. Last 2 minutes of the second period. Weird things happen. Guys are tired. You don't have the freshest of legs anymore. You don't have that end of game burst. You're at the end of the second period, and what happened?
Off the draw, pulled free by the Leafs. Right point Liljegren. Feed to the high slot, Nylander. Watched by Beecher. Nylander shoots, they score! And the Leafs turn it into a goal. That shot coming in from William Nylander might have gotten deflected. It skids inside the near post, and the Leafs open up a late second period 1-0 lead here in Game 6.
And that is pretty much all they would do.
And you know how the Bruins responded? That happened in the final minute of the second period. First period, you know how the Bruins responded in the second period? By disappearing for 7 minutes. The first 7 minutes of the second period were like the first 7 minutes of the first period in Game 5. They were nowhere to be found after falling behind 1-0. You figure, okay, it's Game 6 now, boys. It's time for us to respond. We're down 1-0. We're fortunate to be only down 1-0. Now's the time where we need to play. They were non-existent in the first 7 minutes of the second period. What is Jim Montgomery telling these guys between periods and before games? Whatever it is, it's really bad. It's putting them to sleep. This guy needs to be fired if they lose tomorrow night. Or should I say when they lose tomorrow night?
Well, I think he'll be fired if they lose tomorrow night, they will.
He seems completely mystified why his team isn't responding. Isn't that your job to find out? Isn't that your job to correct it?
And some of it, too, is, their most skilled players. Now, Marchand, I think he's doing about as much as he can do. Pastrnak, not good. Not good in this game. And a couple of times when he did have looks at the net, his shots were going 3 feet wide of the net. It's off. And if you can't get it done by finding some ways to shoot, then you need to get down and dirty, and you need to really fight for those rebounds. But in order to, I'm talking about rebounds that are going off of defenders and off of sticks and skates of guys in front of the goalie. You're not even gobbling up loose pucks in front of the goalie because they're not making it that far to begin with.
That's how Nylander scored. It went off of McAvoy. I mean, I don't understand if Toronto supposedly has this weak defense and that you can't even get anything going. Like, forget about Wall. Like, you couldn't get anything to him, as John said, and I don't understand why there wasn't, how that's possible.
I guess in the strictest sense of the word, Fred, the defense of Toronto's defense isn't great when it comes to allowing the puck into the zone. But once the Bruins have the puck down there, they couldn't do anything with it. Now, in the third, they started setting up the offense a little bit, and as Jack Edwards said last night a couple of times, incrementally getting better, and they were trying to find some rhythm. And they could get the puck down there, but once it was there, they would just do this pack in front of Wall, and there were no shots to be had, and they would have possession in the Toronto end for, I don't know, 5 seconds or so, and that was it.
How many getting back to Pastrnak, how many wild shots that were 2-3 feet wide of the net did we see from him last night? He is desperate in a bad way.
Yes.
He's not playing desperate hockey. He's just desperate to get the puck towards the net because he's been so frustrated in this series. He's taking blind turnaround, spin around shots from the blue line that are nowhere close to Joseph Wall. I mean, it would be nice if you hit the goaltender and maybe there's a rebound to pounce on. He can't even get the puck at the net.
And again, they were too cute. I mean, they weren't putting pucks on net. They were getting too cute. Toronto was clogging up the middle, and the Bruins were trying to pass through that. It was very frustrating.
Toronto is without their best player. The best goal scorer of the last 5 years is not playing for them. And even when he wasn't playing well.
And he's not supposed to be playing in Game 7.
And they're better than you, and easily better than you. The scores may have been close, but that's only because Jeremy Swayman has been fantastic. This team has been better than you by a factor of 50%.
And that's
the last 2 games.
And that's what's sad is that this season was just like, all right, whatever. Like, I mean, this regular season, we were all just like, whatever. Everyone at the station was. We didn't follow the Bruins as closely on this station with everyday talk as we usually do because it was, I think that the whole fan base is like, all right, we'll see. Then, they do better than expected in the regular season. Great. Let's see what happens. They play Toronto. They get up 3-1. Here we go. Let's get talk. Talk. And then here we are again. This is exactly what everyone was afraid of. This is what we were all afraid of. I don't think there was one fan that truly follows the team that wasn't all season, in the off season, during the season, at the end of the season, wasn't afraid this was what was going to happen. This exact same thing. And there is literally no reason. And I bet you, I would love to find someone who really thinks, doesn't convince themselves, but really thinks, if you put them on a lie detector, that the Bruins are going to win Game 7 at home. Because there's no evidence.
Yeah, I never do. I put up a poll on Twitter last night to find out if I was the only one that was feeling this way, and I'm glad you said this, because I have zero confidence they can win at home tomorrow night. Over 70% I got like 1,700 votes. Over 70% think that the Bruins are going to lose.
Yeah, I don't know how you could be a fan of this team and go like, I feel really good about going in to this game. Then bet your car on it. Then bet your car on them straight up. If you can send me a ticket and you're not super rich, that you bet $30,000 on the game, then I'll believe you.
And now it seems like so obvious, even against a team that doesn't have, its goaltending set up, and they're not even that good defensively. How is it that the Bruins in this position are forced to go to a Game 7 against a much lower-seeded team? You want to know why? You take away that 14-4 record that they had to start the regular season, and they're pretty much a 500 hockey team. They're just average.
In some ways, this season, when they lose tomorrow night, is going to be worse than last season, because at least their opponent last season was the defending president.
No.
But Florida was a good team that had an off year. Toronto, who has won one playoff series in 20 years and has a history of choking, is about to come back and beat you in 7 games.
They were going to win the cup last year.
But at the same time, you have guys that have memory of that from last year.
So I thought they could have won the cup last year. This year is worse because it's the exact same thing. I agree with John, because it's the exact same thing as last year. Like, it's too much.
You had a lot of the same guys who went through it last year who should know better going through it this year, and Toronto has a history of choking. They've won one playoff series in 2 decades, and they're going to come back from 3-1 down and beat you.
If you guys would like to continue your argument,
I disagree.
On the other side, we will. On the other side, why'd I say that? When we come back, we can do that. I know.
Here comes a phone call.
Woo! All right. Here are the headlines. Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Maybe every moment more with FanDuel. RJ. Go ahead, RJ.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, so you guys are talking a little crazy over there. I mean, yes, we're up 3-1. It feels like last year a little bit, but like last year, let's not forget that we had like times in those games to close out where we were minutes away, and that hasn't been the case. We kind of just had, a bad couple games. But like, let's not forget who the opponent is here. We're playing Toronto. I mean, I think guys like Marchand and them are going to step up. I think we're going to win Game 7. I'm not like some, Bruins fan that's like, oh, everything's great, everything's wonderful. If we're playing any other team, I'd be seriously worried. And I just think we're going to win Game 7 because we're playing the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is classic spot.
I know what you're saying. Toronto and their fan base is probably saying the same thing, that they think they're going to lose Game 7. But when you say it's kind of like last year, that's a bit of an understatement. It's exactly like last year. To the score of Game 5,
Lost in overtime.
They lost in
Game 5.
overtime in Game 5. I mean, like, everything is repeating itself. The way Montgomery has them tight, it just all seems incredibly similar.
And I don't disagree with you when you say you think Marchand's going to step up tomorrow night. That's fine. I thought that was last night. I thought Marchand and Pastrnak, they were going to show up last night and say, okay, let's finish them even in Toronto and let's just be done with it. And they didn't. They couldn't even get the puck onto the net.
Don, go ahead. Don.
Bill.
Yeah, what's up?
Bill.
Oh, Bill. Well, listen. It's
so
you
my,
can't even
my
blame Nick.
question is, my apologies. So you don't think Pasternak's hurt? The way he went down against the boards in the second period, I mean, there's something wrong with him. I mean, I'm not saying mentally, like physically, there's got to be something wrong with him.
I think that he got hit with the shot in it was a game. In game 5.
I understand.
Right.
But he was out. He was suffering even then. It's like there's something.
I think he might be hurt. He probably might be hurt.
So, I mean, when he's not fighting like he normally does, when he goes down like that, I mean, and I think it was before the shot in the knee. And now maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think so.
Pastrnak fighting like he normally does?
Well, fighting for pucks, I would imagine.
I think the quickness is still there. I don't think he's laboring out there.
I don't think he's much of a fighter for the puck
I think that he is, like most of his teammates, not playing well.
Oh, I bet you when it's all said and done, he's got an injury. But they're all going to have
a lot
injuries.
of people do, I would imagine.
But he did
year.
block a shot. I don't even know if he meant to, but he did block a shot where he went down. And if you were watching the game, I could understand why you missed it because no one mentioned it, even though he was down and couldn't get up for about 45 seconds. And, then they showed him on the bench in, like, incredible pain. He looks like there's something physically wrong with him, but it doesn't, so now they should lose? Austin Matthews isn't playing at all. And the word out of Toronto, I don't know if you guys read this in The Athletic, the word out of Toronto is they talked to two sources. He's obviously hurt. And I guess he was ill and then he got hurt. And the doctor said it would have been irresponsible to even practice him with the team. I guess he's been skating a little bit, but one source said there's no way he's plays Game 7. If there was a Game 7, this was before last night's game. And the other source said they didn't think he was going to play in Game 7.
Sounds to me like he was ill and then suffered a concussion. I mean, the way everything is up in the air, he was on the ice for a few minutes and then came off. Sounds like a concussion to me.
Yeah, the illness thing never made sense because he's been around the team. And even yesterday, he skated before the morning skate by himself. But so the sickness thing, that's done with. I don't even know if he was – I don't know how sick he was before. He's got an injury. He's got a concussion.
He said he played sick in the first couple games, that he was playing sick, and then he got hit. They mentioned when it was, and I apologize for not remembering because I'm sure everyone out there remembers the exact moment it happened. But he got hit in game, what was it, Game 3 or something, and then they said that he was sick and then he got hit. So whatever. But I wouldn't count on Austin Matthews playing in Game 7. If he does play, I wouldn't count on him doing much.
They're a better defensive team without him.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's very, Very obvious.
How was Domi on faceoffs last night? Did he dominate again? Let me see here. Skiddy boop 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 boo. Daddy dad bum bum bum. Faceoff percentage.
500. Won 7, lost 6.
All right. So
Tavares was much better.
All right. So there you go.
Tavares won 2/3 of his faceoffs.
But at least Domi didn't win all of them again.
I cannot get past the fact that this is somehow worse than last year. And if they end up losing Game 7, I'm not saying you're lying or that you're even incorrect. All I'm saying, John, is that you are misremembering what it felt like last year when this team was rolling and people, me included, were picking them to win the Stanley Cup in February and March, and it was a foregone conclusion. And we kind of already knew this was going to be it for Bergeron and probably for Krejci too. And these guys weren't coming back, and they're on the way. And to lose in the first round the way they did, that was
Looking back
just
on
from
it,
like doing this job, it's like, holy crap, we're supposed to be talking about this team until June,
when we
and
were
it's
in the middle
done
of
in
it,
early May.
When we were in the middle of it, yeah, it was a horrific thing to go through as a Bruins fan. But both Bergeron and Krejci were hurt in the back end of that series. And if you remember correctly, Florida had won the President's Trophy the year before. They were a team that was good the year before and was coming off an off year. They had the talent there. This Toronto team has never been good.
Well, who won the President's Trophy the year that the Bruins and Panthers played in that series?
The Bruins did.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that kind of supersedes. Don't bring up the President's Trophy argument again.
The opponent was better last year than this year. That was my point. And the fact that Krejci and Bergeron were both hurt and didn't play in games last season is part. Going through it sucked, but looking back on it, I think this year has the potential to be worse.
Okay, so teams in hockey in the playoffs that are up 3-1 win 91% of the series.
And you're going to do it in back-to-back years.
Back-to-back. I mean, that's an astronomical statistic.
Unbelievable that this group of players, and by the way, Zacha lost 9 of 10 faceoffs last night.
No, good for him. And because
this group of players, especially based on what happened to them last year, should be playing far better than they are.
You just think that they would have won that Game 5. I knew when they didn't win that Game 5, it was big time trouble. And they had it was overtime, and they had the opportunity.
And the fact that this team disappears for half a period.
I don't understand.
How is that possible?
Because they're tight. They're
based
nervous.
on what's at stake.
They know what's at stake. That's the problem. All right, we'll be back. Bert Breer, huh? It's post draft. He's going to be in here. He's going to be wagging it around a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
Archer and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Nope. All right.
That's impressive, Fred.
What's impressive?
That Milo. Fred was showing me video of Milo pitching during the break.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing gas?
Yes, actually.
Throwing hard now.
See the video. He's throwing hard.
He's like 6'3", throwing hard. We'll see.
I like it. You got a batting cage in the backyard, right?
We do. Well, yeah, he's got a batting cage in the backyard. He certainly does. It's bat's a little slow right now, but the pitching is.
That's not the moneymaker. The moneymaker is the left arm.
Yeah,
lefty.
See, we still haven't come to that baseball lacrosse crossroads. I think my oldest, is going to go lacrosse. But he's a third grader. He's still playing both. I want to keep him in both for as long as I can, too. Yeah.
It's a silver spoon situation, Bert. They're going to be hockey. Lacrosse.
Sudbury is lacrosse.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but I'm like, I'm giving you the once over. I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Sandals, light blue vineyard vines hoodie.
This was take
I was
the
a
kid
little
out of
aggressive.
Sudbury.
The answer's
shorts,
lacrosse.
Sudbury out of the kid.
The shorts were a little aggressive today. I would say.
saying.
I didn't. I yesterday was very warm out, so. Decided to go for it, walked out the door, immediately regretted it. But as you guys know, I don't leave myself a whole lot of wiggle room.
Yes,
here.
that's
You
very
certainly
true.
do
So
not.
there was no chance to go turn around and.
You're rocking the Acquare. Good for you.
The Birkenstocks, or does that need to be addressed, or
No,
can
we don't
just
need to
ignore
address
that?
this.
Is he wearing
How about those
Birkenstocks?
Bruins?
I won't let my kids wear Birkenstocks. I will not let my kids buy Birkenstocks, and I'd let them get their noses pierced, and I wouldn't let them.
No,
wear
Birkenstocks have taken on a whole different context than they had. In the
No,
90s.
they really haven't.
Yes, they have.
No, they haven't.
In the '90s, it was like the burnout shoe. You don't.
And what do you think it is now?
It's like high end now. I don't know.
No,
You know what it is?
Emily
It is-
reintroduced me to them.
Nothing says no, Fred. I cannot help you move furniture after the show today because I'm dressed like a
See, that would be
eight-year-old
good-
girl.
that would be
and,
good strategy right
I
there.
need to
That-
go
no,
home.
no, that
Maybe I
sounds
could
like
go
good
find a
strategy.
grown-up man to help
I
you.
have
you
to,
moving
I have
today,
to go
Fred?
find my granola
No.
in the glove
Okay.
box. Sorry.
Okay.
We moved the bed upstairs yesterday.
all right. Okay.
Oh, I'm moving. I'm not moving away. I'm moving. I'm getting more comfortable. Is what I'm doing.
Not a sandal in
Settling in.
sight.
Yeah.
Flip flops. I mean, I did spend some time in Florida. No, Birkenstocks are dumb hippie shoes, and they are probably the shoes.
They
of
used
the
to be.
elite.
They're not anymore.
No,
though.
no. Yes, I assure you they are, Bert.
pretty much are,
And
Bert.
I don't care if they're for the elite because hippies and the elite are in the same sentence. I mean, the richer the college, the more hippies there are.
It's a nice pullover you're wearing.
Yeah, you know when I got this?
It's a quarter zip.
You know when I got this? The year might have been seriously 1991. And this is a snowboarder one.
See, that looks high end though.
That's what my son said. Isn't
It
that
does.
funny?
It does.
I bet you this brand doesn't. Oh, it's SM.
Wouldn't you agree? That looks high end.
What I think is
Those
you're
things
trying
made
to
of, like,
take
some
all of the
material that's-
attention off of you. That's what I.
Oh
think
no,
is
that's
happening
obviously
right
what
now.
he's doing.
That's all this is.
I'm aware that's what he's doing.
Okay, just so
But-
we're all clear.
But I do want you to know this. My son just said the same thing to me. This thing is the oldest piece of clothing that I own. How about that?
That's crazy.
This is from
It's nice.
This is from high school.
Everything old is new again. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean it's really
The '90s
cute.
are back in this room. Your pullover, my sandals.
It's a cute top.
Well, those pair of Birkenstocks were around with revolting hippies in the '60s. I mean that's just. not
Is that
a new
right?
thing.
I thought
Yes,
they were a
Bert.
product of the '90s.
Bert,
I
do a
did
look-
not know that.
No, Bert. You never heard the NoFX song "Jeff Wears Birkenstocks"? He's got a tie-dyed Rancid shirt. Wears his Birkenstocks to work. Is he a jerk? No, just confused. Jeff, don't wear regular shoes. Don't want to chill. Don't want to sit. Don't want to hear no hippie blink. Don't tell me I'm losing my mind.
Well, I wear them for the same reason. Like a lot of other dads wear New Balance for comfort. You know, like you get to the point where you stop caring about other things as much.
There's a time, though, where you got to draw the line. Bert
Yeah.
Breer is the senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for MMQB. Bert is brought to you by Bentley University, a force for business, a force for good. And Bert joins us live in studio this morning. Bert, what is the word on the draft with the Patriots now that you've had a week to sit down and kind of talk to people? What are people saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's no question that this is going to be judged on what happens with Drake May, one way or the other, and that goes for all the teams that took quarterbacks, the 6 of them in the top 12. I think the biggest question I have is, now that we're through the draft, have they done enough to support their young quarterback? And, you know,
I've been asked a lot over the last few days, what would be a successful season for Drake May as a rookie? And I actually think it's going to be stuff you probably won't be able to see. You know, it's going to be what's happening in practice. It's going to be rebuilding his lower half. Brian Hoyer showed us this great video. We did TV with him last week, and he showed us this great video of Josh Allen at Wyoming and what he looked like throwing the ball in a practice at Wyoming, and then what it looked like a couple of years later in Buffalo, and they had completely rebuilt him. And part of the reason they were able to do that is because they weren't a bad team when they drafted him. They had made the playoffs the year before, and so much of being able to make sustainable change to what a quarterback is fundamentally is to keep him out of third and long, is to keep him from playing from behind. It's having discipline sometimes when you're in 3rd and 17 to run a draw and not throw him out there to the wolves. And I've used the Zach Wilson example a lot, Fred. He turned into, after his first year in the pros, he was Chuck Knobloch trying to make the throw from second. It was just like they had thrown him out there and he was running around like a chicken with his head cut off because the team was no good, constantly in long yardage, constantly playing from behind. You have to keep him out of those situations. And how do you effectively do that? And, I think more poignantly now, do you have the team to do that? And if you don't, you can't throw him out there.
All right, so was this the right team to draft Drake May? For instance, I heard Felger and Maz play a clip from Chris Sims, and Chris Sims was saying if they don't play I don't know what his point was, but he's like, if they don't play Drake May this year, everyone's going to say, well, then why did you take him third? But the thing was, like, say you traded with the Giants, and you didn't take Drake May, and then you took – you just took positional players, then you'd be drafting a quarterback next season, and they'd be starting with the same offense that Drake May would be playing if you sat him a year.
There's a couple things. There's a couple problems with that. Number one, the quarterbacks at that level almost never go to the right situations because by definition, the teams drafted at the top are bad teams. Minnesota's an exception. But I think if you gave any of the 6 quarterbacks who went in the first round truth serum and asked them where would they want to play, they all would have said Minnesota. Mm-hmm. The situation there is just so much better than the other ones. It's not even close if you look at the other 5, right?
Right. Well, you have the best receiver in the league. You have
a really good number 2 receiver, a top-end tight end.
And you have an offensive guru as coach. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, everything about it is really – like right where you need it. You don't take him number 3 overall for this year. You take him over number 3 overall for the next 15 years. And when you have the opportunity to do it, you almost have to. The reason why is how long are Gerard Mayo and Elliott Wolf realistically going to get? And you might have, if you're lucky, 3 drafts to find him. Yep. And you're sitting there at number 3 overall, and the guy with the talent to get you into to that level is there. You can't pass that up. Like, and it's just, again, like, would Bo Nix be more functional in year 1, given what the Patriots have? Yeah, I think he probably would be. The guy started 61 games in college. He played for 2 different programs. He can run around a bunch and make stuff happen. So, yeah, like, Bo Nix would probably be more functional for you in year 1. This was never about year 1. This is about, if I'm the Patriots, like doing whatever I can to get into that club we've talked about, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, the Chargers, the Ravens. They're there because they have quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks are all in their mid-20s, right? Houston, I think, is there now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do you get into that club? You have to have a guy who's got the ceiling to get there. And I actually think, like, of the guys in this class, like, Drake has the second highest ceiling behind Caleb Williams.
Sure.
And Caleb Williams, I believe Caleb Williams, again, you do the whole truth serum thing. I believe that every one of these teams, the 6 that took quarterbacks in the first round, would tell you Caleb Williams is simply in a different category than the rest of them.
And I think they're trying to take that longish term approach to things. But like you said, when it comes to this tandem that's in there right now between coach and de facto GM for the Patriots, they realize they don't have, a 5-year grace period to get things figured out. So was Drake May a good kind of like middle pick for them in terms of somebody that they can build upon and get into that club in another year or two, but also give you something maybe this season,
So
6 games in, he could be a guy that goes in and plays?
So here's what I think a lot of people aren't paying attention to that I think is really important. Look at Alex Van Pelt's last 2 years in Cleveland, and look at what he had to do, right? They had 4 different starting quarterbacks last year.
Joe Flacco looked good.
They were on their
Alex Van Pelt.
They were on their 4th and 5th different tackles, right? Like at the end of the year. I mean, and Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach there, was a huge part of it. But I mean, most teams get to their 4th and 5th tackles. It's like shut down shop. The season's over. You know what I mean? Like I almost think that was more impressive than the quarterback thing. But they go through. I mean, if you want to go down the list, Josh Dobbs was on the roster in the summer. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, P.J. Walker, Deshaun Watson for a short period of time, Joe Flacco. Like the year before that, it's Jacoby Brissett, building an offense for Jacoby Brissett for 11 games and then having to pivot and go to Deshaun Watson. The reason that's important is because I think so much of getting a young quarterback ready to go now in today's NFL is meeting them halfway, because college offenses are different than pro offenses. And what you've seen, I think, successful teams that have done this the right way do is find a way to incorporate what they did in college into what you're doing offensively, so you shorten the learning curve a little bit. And that's something that, I mean, Bill O'Brien was on the air with us on the midday show last week, and they did that for Watson. They went and met with the Clemson coaches and tried to find stuff where there was common ground. If I'm Alex Van Pelt, if I'm Gerard Mayo, I am on the phone with Phil Longo at Wisconsin, with Mac Brown at North Carolina, going through, here's what, like, we need to know what Drake did really well so we can incorporate it into what we're doing.
You were talking about building a roster to help a young quarterback out. Have the Patriots done enough to address left tackle? That seems to me to be a very big concern right now.
Next question.
I mean, I just don't know, like, but that's the problem. So I actually look at, like, what they've done, and they've thrown some resources at the offensive line, right? Like, so over the last couple of years, what is it, 5 draft picks, I think? Something like that on offensive linemen. The problem is the position, and then you obviously you pay Mike Nwenu, you bring David Andrews back, so there's a basis for something there. The problem is, it's the same problem you have at receiver. It's like the most difficult spot to fill.
Well, you have receivers that can play on both sides of the field. You have a bunch of right tackles and no left tackle.
You don't have a left tackle, right? Yeah. Like, and that's sort of the problem. And it's like you can see it, and like this is part of the cost of taking the quarterback high, right, and not trading down. Is once you get outside of the first round, well, look at the guys they took, right? So they take Jalen Polk, who I think can be a really good player, and he was playing opposite Rome Odunze. Right? You take Caden Wallace in the 3rd round, he was playing opposite Olu Fashanu. So those guys were sort of the secondary guys. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means in college, the other team was attacking them a different way. They were being protected a different way. So I think they've got pieces, but like in their defense, like, I don't know if there was like once you decide you're taking the quarterback 3rd overall, I'm just not sure there is a left tackle option out there for you.
Yeah, and
I would have advocated for maybe, like, you see Tyler Guyton, who went to Dallas at 29, like that was they're in striking distance.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say, Bert. I understand at the receiver position, kind of. If you're in a certain spot and you want to take a receiver, you just you take what's there. If there are 3 or 4 of them, because you don't really know. When there is a left tackle on the board and you need a left tackle, that's where you move up and that's where you go get that guy. To me, it always should have been quarterback, left tackle, figure out receiver, 3rd round.
I also think, like, it's so much easier to find a receiver. You know what I mean? Like, look at, like,
but you have better odds of hitting on somebody if there's just someone left there for you. If you try and do that with an offensive lineman, you'll end up with somebody who only played on the right side. And now you're sitting there thinking, "Gee whiz, what are we going to do at left tackle?"
I mean,
that's not a good position to be
Willikers, in. I mean, my Lord, have mercy.
Oh, that's a good chime in, Fred.
Thanks.
I mean, well, you look at the highest paid receivers in the game, right? So Amon-Ra St. Brown was a 4th-round pick. A.J. Brown was a 2nd-round pick. Tyreek Hill was a 5th-round pick for different reasons. But like Devontae Adams was a 4th-round pick, like I think, or 3rd maybe. It's like all these guys were deep into the draft, and it's really, really common. I mean, even like I look at the year we've talked ad nauseum about the 2019 draft with N'Keal Harry. I mean, N'Keal Harry goes in the 1st round. Look who went in the 2nd round that year: Debo Samuel, DK Metcalf.
Right.
You know, in the 3rd round, you had Terry McLaurin that year. I'm missing somebody too, but there were great.
Where was A.J. Brown that year?
A.J. Brown was A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel in the 2nd round, and then Terry McLaurin in the 3rd round. So, like that's like why I was saying the last few weeks. I actually think their 2nd pick maybe should have been a tackle. Now, the problem was the run on tackles happened, and that's where I think you could get a little critical of them is, do you go up and try to get a Jordan Morgan from Arizona or a Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma if the opportunity to jump up from 34 is there? I would have advocated for doing that, even at the cost of, maybe losing a pick or two, and then taking care of receiver later.
All right. We were here with Bert Breer, 617-779-0985. We will be talking to him for the foreseeable future.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right, the 150th Kentucky Derby is right around the corner, and FanDuel is the only sportsbook app where you can bet it. Plus, all customers can get a no-sweat Derby bet up to $20. That's right, you'll get up to $20 back if your Derby horse doesn't win. So bet the Derby on the same app where you bet all your other favorite sports. FanDuel, just download the app or go to FanDuel.com/Fred to score your no-sweat Derby bet up to $20 for the Kentucky Derby this Saturday. You got to be 21 or older and present in Massachusetts. Verified FD racing account required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at racing.fanduel.com. Hope is here. Gambling helpline ma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Played smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800.
was a very efficient live read at the beginning of the break.
You don't think I went a minute?
I don't think I know.
You know I didn't go a minute?
Why don't you give him an extra 10 seconds right now? Make up for it.
You got Kentucky Derby fever?
Coming up.
At 8 o'clock, we're all going to have Derby fever.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to catching the fever.
We got some fun. We got some Derby fun happening at 8 a.m.
Nice.
Well, the only place you can bet on the Kentucky Derby is FanDuel Sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Fred and get in on all the Derby action.
Okay, there it is.
And I'm going to wear a big old hat.
Yeah.
And get kicked out of a bar.
My neighbors have a big Derby party every year, and it is a whole thing, baby. I mean, with the tents and the outdoor viewing screen and, just cars up and down the street. And they do a really nice job with it. But everybody dresses up for the Derby party.
And everyone wants to go.
And I say everybody except for this guy.
Good for you.
I'm the one who'll just
Good for
show
you.
up like this. Not because I'm an a-hole. It's because I don't play dress up.
If you're a man, I was talking about this with someone last night. If you're a man and you're going to a Derby party like all dolled up, if you go to the Kentucky Derby, like at the Kentucky Derby,
Yeah.
then okay, fine, when in Rome. Yeah. But if you go to a place like a house party in Canton, dressed up like it's cosplaying.
Yes, and everybody looks great. And I have friends,
No, they look stupid.
Other neighbors who wear like the Sears sucker suits or whatever, and they look like $1 million.
No, they don't. They
these
look
are
like
good.
idiots.
These are good-looking men in the prime of their lives.
You think they look like
in a
dumb?
cul-de-sac in Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm not doing it.
Good for you.
I'm not. But I'm not wearing anything. I'm not going to look like a jerk. I'm not going to wear a T-shirt, but I'm going to wear what I wear.
I think it's okay if you're gonna get blackout drunk, but once you get to the point where you're too old to do that at a function like that, then you should stop dressing up.
And
Does that make sense?
Here's the other thing. I'm
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're
I'm
still like that age where you're gonna go to something like that and like not remember the end of it, then
Why do you have a seersucker suit though? And why do you have a hat if you're a young man? Again, if you're a female, then that's one thing because you're always dressing up and doing stupid crap.
Oh, what do you think Tony P is going to wear tomorrow?
Oh, yes. That's
He's
going to
have all kinds of good
Whatever
stuff.
it's going to be sponsored.
Rocking.
But you should show up. You should show up in like gym shorts out of protest.
No. I'm not gonna be a jerk about it. But you bring up the drinking thing, and I think that's important. You get a little loose, you lose the inhibitions a little bit, and it's like, yeah, I want to wear something. This will be fun too. I'm all about fun. You know me. I'm all about a good time, but you don't have that help of alcohol, or I don't have the help of alcohol to make me, want to dress up in something silly and fun. I won't do it.
You put the FU in fun.
Okay, very good.
I don't know why like this conversation is making me like that image of Wes Welker where he looked like the Fear and Loathing guy.
Yeah.
It's
when he was
Hunter
with
S.
Brady
Thompson
that year. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like Hunter S. Thompson.
Didn't he have like a stack of bills?
He didn't,
hundreds.
He didn't look like Hunter S. Thompson.
We had him in here right after
He was
that.
wearing a seersucker suit like a douchebag.
Well,
Hunter S.
Wes
Thompson
was,
would wear ball hugger shorts, sunglasses, and a baseball cap.
Did he? Well, I don't remember
like-
what he looked like. Did he have a cigarette holder?
No, he
Oh,
did not
okay.
look anything like. But Hunter Thompson.
He was probably
very
on
well
some of
known
the same.
for,
He was probably on
Kentucky
some.
Derby story.
Probably on some of the same stuff.
Yeah. He was on ecstasy.
Yeah.
He was on MDMA. I think that we know that.
That's what you were looking for, Brett.
Yes, he was on pure
I was
MDMA.
just trying to like dance around.
I know, but I
it.
want to get it. I want to hear you say it. That's what I really want.
I think that he was very open about his consumption of MDMA at that
Just
event.
trying to.
Yeah.
You want to get anxious? Watch that Johnny Depp portrayal of Hunter S. Thompson, him and Benicio del Toro in the bathtub scene. Oh, you want to listen to a White Rabbit? What you want? The White Rabbit to rear its head when that kicks in? What? Don't mess with me, man. What? Put that tape on.
He almost does, because he was such good friends with Hunter Thompson, he almost does too good of Hunter Thompson. And Hunter Thompson's impossible to understand anyway. All right, so here we go, football. So the Atlanta Falcons take Michael Penix. We had talked to you last Friday after the first round. Since then, we know Kirk Cousins is pissed. I'll just very quickly tell you. I was like, why would Kirk Cousins be pissed? And then I thought about it. You sign with Atlanta. If they don't win, everyone's going to blame you. So
Yeah.
I would be pissed too. What is the thought around the league? How shocking a pick is that in like the last 10 years? Tell me what people were saying.
It was shocking because, well, see, a lot of people have compared it to like Green Bay with what they did with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and then Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. And there's a really important difference in that those guys weren't new. Like Brett Favre wasn't new when they drafted Rodgers. Rodgers wasn't new when they drafted Love. And so what Cousins is going to have to deal with now is if he goes out and throws 3 picks in week 2 and Penix looked good in the preseason, almost immediately there's going to be like pressure on the coaching staff, on people in the organization to go to the rookie.
Well, Atlanta's going to want Penix to play.
Right. And if absolutely.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And if Brett Favre threw 3 interceptions in week 2 of 2005, no one would have said that because Brett Favre had so many skins on the wall in Green Bay that, like, all right, like we've seen this before. He's going to be fine.
He'll figure it out. It's so much different with Kirk Cousins. The other issue, I think, here is that, and I think this is a nuance that a lot of people have lost, but is an important one. So one of the reasons why Kirk Cousins left Minnesota is because they were so upfront and honest with him. And they said to him, and part of it was the contract, and the money's a huge part of it, no question. But one of the things that Minnesota never changed his tune on was 2024 is probably when we're taking our quarterback of the future. And so they were honest with him about that. And when they were talking, the beginning of this offseason, it was like, we can't tell you we're not going to take a quarterback. We have the 11th overall pick. We're drafting higher than we think we'll be drafting for a while. It's a good year for quarterbacks. So yeah, there's a chance we're going to take your replacement there, Kirk. Like, just so we're being honest and open with you. And so that was like, I think Kirk appreciated that, but that's one of the reasons he left. And then he goes to the place where they didn't tell him that they were going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you were Kirk Cousins, how would you feel about that? Like, you just left a place where they were honest with you about it and open with you about it and told you about it, and then your new place calls you when they're on the clock. I don't get the thought process of doing that deal with Cousins, and then you have other needs, and going with Penix.
Yeah,
in
why
that
did they
spot.
do it?
So here's the reason they did it is because of how they saw Penix. They had him third among the quarterbacks on their board behind only Caleb and Jaden Daniels. And there were some people in that room who had him second. And I can tell you, having talked to people who, not the head coach or GM, but the people down the line that thought, like, this guy kind of throws the ball like Matthew Stafford. And where did all those coaches come from? They came from the Rams, right? Raheem Morris is from the Rams. Zach Robinson's from the Rams. There are a lot of guys in that organization who came from L.A. I think the logic here is pretty simple. If we get 2 to 3 good years out of Kirk Cousins and 10 out of Michael Penix, nothing else matters. And that's correct. Like, I think that part of it's correct. But if you're Kirk Cousins, again, like, you think about the situation you're in where you thought you were going to be the missing piece for this team, and they do need a pass rusher. And instead of taking a pass rusher like a Dallas Turner or a Byron Murphy or a Leatu Latu, right? Instead of taking one of those guys, you are legitimately taking the one guy who cannot help Kirk Cousins win.
Okay, and this is where it all breaks down for me. You said it. Their best case scenario, if this works out perfectly and how they wanted to, 3 years from now, we will have our next guy, but you don't even know if he can play. You don't know if he can play in the NFL, but in case he can, we'll already have him in place. As opposed to getting someone who can help you now with the quarterback that you've guaranteed $100 million to.
I think the other thing that's sort of interesting about it is how ownership plays into it and how Arthur Blank was a part of this. And I know Arthur Blank had told people in that organization, I want a quarterback for the city. You know, I want a quarterback answer for the city long term. And like there's that, and it's like I know he'd use the word succession planning with people in that organization, and not even just these people, the people that are there now, but the people that were there that got fired before, like the last coaching staff. And it's, from Home Depot. It's, I want succession planning with all of my executive positions. And so I think the owner had that in his mind as part of the PTSD of the last 3 years of trying to make it work, of Matt Ryan being offloaded a year before they intended to because Matt Ryan got pissed off over the Deshaun Watson thing, right? And then their pivot point there is to try a reclamation project with Marcus Mariota. And then after that, it's, let's go with a third-round rookie. So it's almost like an overcorrection of what happened the last 3 years. That's the other part of it.
What was more the Atlanta taking Penix was more surprising. Were people surprised Denver took Knicks when they did?
No, I mean, I think that had been floating around out there that they liked him. I think the biggest question with that was, and it had been floating around out there that Atlanta liked Penix. I mean, look, they put 8 people on a private jet to fly from Atlanta to Seattle 4 weeks ago today to go work out Penix. So they did like Penix. I just think no one believed, no way in hell they're actually going to take one at 8. Denver obviously had a very real need. So
they didn't have a second-round pick, right?
Yeah. And they didn't have a second-round pick. And I think that was like part of the thought process for them was they really liked Knicks. They thought he was Sean Payton legitimately thinks that a lot of other people missed on Knicks. Like, he thinks there's really something there. And so, do you get cute? Do you fall back? Do you trade back? Like, I think the opportunity might have been there for them to trade back. Do you get cute, or do you just sit there and take the guy? So I think most people thought, are they going to move down in the round? Are they going to try to pick up a second-round pick to pick up Bo Nix? I think the scenario of them ending up with Bo Nix would have surprised no one in the NFL 9 days ago. I think what's mildly surprising is that they just sat there at 12 and did it.
All right. Bert Breer is here. We will continue with him. 617-779-0985. We'll be right back. Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Burt Breer in studio from MMQB. And Hardy has a new favorite football player, Mr. Keon Coleman, because he called himself Tiger Wish He Could instead of Tiger Woods. And then Hardy's...
I said that was a pretty good line.
No, but I'm not making fun of what you said. I'm just saying that as soon as you probably heard him say he played golf, you were probably like, ooh.
I just like his. I like his shopping strategy. How he was going a month ahead. What was this, a season or two ahead?
2 seasons ahead. That's when the
Two
deals
seasons
happen.
ahead, yeah.
What was it? Walmart he's going
No,
to?
Macy's.
He's going to Macy's. Yeah.
Yep.
I need different colors of this hoodie too.
It's NIL money. He's going to Macy's.
And then afterwards, he after the press conference, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he went and raided the. They had like a little setup for the media with like cookies and chips and stuff.
Right.
And so he just kind of like went in on the Wegmans cookies. Yeah, it's great.
He pulled a Zolak and he just started like shoving all the free stuff into his bag. Somewhere like at a Super Bowl Radio Row or something, and if they have like a big plate out or a platter with bags of chips and stuff, he'll take his bag in there with him and just start shoving stuff in his bag. Yeah,
and to consume later, or do you think he just doesn't even eat it?
Oh, no, he absolutely. It's a constant stream of consumption and expulsion. It's just,
You've mentioned that several times. When you worked with Scott for years and years and years, so between the hours of 10 to 2, did he eat every day?
Oh, yeah.
Did he eat, how often would he eat during the show?
I would say once an hour he would consume something.
No, would he bring it with him, or would he be in that cafeteria all the time?
He loves the daily meal that they prepare down there. So, and whatever it is, he's buying. Like, it's, ribs today. There's the ribs.
It's almost like a school cafeteria mentality. Like whatever.
Exactly a school cafeteria.
And he's excited about it. He'll come up. He's like, chicken kebab. Hardy. All my headphones, I'm getting ready to do something. He's like, chicken kebab.
I can say too, like he's enthusiastic about the food drops.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean, because of my making fun of the station for celebrating his birthday, because the management loves Scott. You guys can both attest to that.
Oh, God. There are TVs, and you know this, Bert, all along the floor, and they're all pictures of Zolak. Happy birthday, Zo!
So we made fun of it on the air, and I was like, no one's ever done that.
Is he the only one who gets that treatment?
Yes!
That's what I'm saying,
correct.
is that I was making fun of it on the air, and I was like, oh, my God, like they love Zolak so much.
Jesus.
So by doing that, when it was my birthday, they did like a half-ass one for me, just
like
to make
one
me
TV
feel
instead
bad.
of all of them?
Just to make me feel bad.
It was like one monitor no one could find.
Like, are you happy now? They were like, are you happy now? Here's like your birthday thing, jackass.
Yeah. We have to lead
Since you begged, since you're bitching about it on the air, here's your little thing.
See, that's like another thing that's like, I really get weirded out. Like when an adult, like we said, like it's weird for adult males to dress up for a Kentucky Derby party in like denim or whatever, It's also weird any adult male who's really into their birthday. I think that's a very strange trend. You, Fred?
On the, yes.
Yeah.
You're very into your birthday?
Oh my God, have I done things? No, I haven't done it. My 40th birthday, we had a big party.
That was fun with the mariachi band and everything.
And for my 50th birthday, I imagine I'll do something. At least take a trip.
But
my 40th birthday was spent. My 40th birthday was spent in a Miami courtyard because the first day I was at the Super Bowl that year, and Kobe Bryant died. So I will never forget that day. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, what an unfortunate. That's like having your birthday be 9/11. I mean, that your birthday was the day
exactly
Kobe died.
the same thing.
Your guys' birthday is around the same time. That was end of January?
January 26th.
Yeah.
January 16th.
Yeah. Fred starts talking about it when we come back from break. It's like it's a 2-week build-up.
Yeah, he
it's
drops
like, my
hints like we didn't notice what it is he's doing. He'll drop hints along the way.
That's like Emily told me the other day that now it's her birthday month. So
yeah, Emily and I are a lot the same.
Yep.
In that we both have female genitalia. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I do a lot of that stuff. All right, Bert, so the AFC's post-draft, post-free agency, do you think the best team in the – because the Bills got worse.
Yeah, on paper it's the Jets. I think it's like if you look at where they were last year, they were, I'd say coming into the year, not far off from Buffalo. And I mean, I think they aggressively addressed their biggest needs in the tackle position. I think primarily they've added a secondary receiver with their second-round pick and Malachi Corley moving up to go and get him.
What did you think of him, just as selfishly, real quick?
They
Yak.
prioritize getting a yard after catch guy because of what they already have on the roster, and they felt like he was up there as far as guys in the draft. I'm not saying he's Deebo Samuel, but he has some of those qualities, like tough, like really good, strong hands, like can block, like all of that different stuff. And it's just, what they found with their research and going through it is the guys who are really good run after catch in college usually translate fast to the pros, and that's what they need because they're in such a win now spot. And then you take it on top of that, I think already had the best secondary in the division. They already had the best defensive line in the division. They have, I think now, I think you say the second best quarterback in the division behind Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Running back, like, are they the best at running back in the division? Probably with Breece Hall.
Who would be better? Oh, in Miami, yeah, I think Breece Hall's better.
Yeah, no, Breece Hall's like I mean, Miami's got Devin A-Chain, but he is sort of like a scat back type. So
Right.
Before we go any further, we've talked about this before. How much influence did Aaron Rodgers have in that draft room? Because Brock Bowers was targeted to go to the Jets, who were wondering if Aaron Rodgers just bullies everyone. I want that guy.
No, it was never going to be. So Brock Bowers was sort of a secondary option for them. What would have made taking Olu-Fashanu difficult for them would have been if Rome Odunze had made it to them. Like, that was the one. So if Rome Odunze gets to 10,
Was Rodgers
got a very real
there,
decision.
like sitting shotgun saying,
No. But I mean, like, I think they kept him apprised of everything. It was, my understanding of it is it would have been, if Rome Odunze gets there, then there's a good chance maybe they take Odunze over Olu-Fashanu. But those were the two guys for them that they felt like realistically would get to 10 that would be the best options for them. If both those guys for some reason were gone, then I think you're getting to either that's Tali Fuaga, the Oregon State tackle, or Brock Bowers. And even then it might not have been Bowers. Even then it might have been Fuaga. You know, I think they really wanted to get a young left tackle prospect in the pipeline, and especially with the guys they have at that position in Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith being 33 years old. I mean, you hope for the best, but are they going to be able to make it through the season unscathed?
well, no, Smith
Probably
misses
not.
at least a month of season, right? So,
right.
No, neither of them are going to play the whole season. So am I right? Did Buffalo get worse?
This is a reset year for Buffalo. That's all it really is. I mean, I think that's the way you have to look at it. They offloaded, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White and, obviously Stephon Diggs. And so, like they're in a different place right now where they're sort of where Kansas City was 2 years ago, where the Chiefs sort of reconfigured the way that they build their roster because of how much Mahomes costs and how much he's going to cost going forward. That's where the Bills are right now with Josh Allen. And the way the Chiefs got through it is the Chiefs drafted really well. Like if you look on their defense, how many guys they have that are on rookie contracts that are really good players? Trent McDuffie, Nick Bolton, George Karlaftis. Until this year, now he's gone, but L'Jarius Sneed. So what Buffalo has to do now is Buffalo has to draft really well the same way that Kansas City drafted really well when they started offloading some of the more expensive guys on their roster. You just can't build, and this is something where if it works with Drake May, you're talking about this in 4 or 5 years where it's, okay, now you got to pivot, and the guy's got to be good enough to carry you. For the first few years, you can build aggressively around him because you have him on like a affordable, cost-controlled contract. If he's good enough to make it to the second contract, then he's got to be good enough to carry the team a little bit more because you're going to have less to spend on everybody else.
And it helps, too, if you can, like Kansas City, figure out different ways to win and different ways to run your offense while you're in a reset or a transition.
I mean, Kansas City, the first 2 years they don't have Tyreek Hill, what happens? That's Mahomes, right? Like that's like a huge part of that's Mahomes. It's being able to win with Mahomes. I mean, I would argue for as much attention as he got, I don't think Travis Kelce was the same this year. Like, I think if you watched him on balance over the course of the year, he definitely lost a step.
Yeah, Zolak was big on that.
Yeah.
Like,
and he turned it on at the end, but
yeah.
And is that their thinking? It's like, okay, we need Travis back just because he can turn it on.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the end of the season and in the postseason.
Well, and I think that you'll probably see them manage him a little differently this year too. Like, if he has like some bumps and bruises, they're in the position the Patriots were in for all those years, right? Where it's like,
keep Gronk in bubble wrap.
You don't have to worry about making the playoffs. You're going to make the playoffs. Right. You're probably going to be in the conference title game. So when you're in that position where you've got a quarterback that can like basically guarantee that you're going to be in the playoffs and you're probably going to be playing on like conference championship weekend.
Yeah.
Well, that allows you the freedom to start to manage things a little bit differently. And so I would guess with Kelsey now, it becomes like, hey, if you roll your ankle, we might sit you a week or two just to make sure that you're full
week or two.
Yeah. Make sure you're at full speed.
A month or two.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see too, like because they went, to the bigger, the bigger type of receiver the last few years with having Juju there and then MVS and, now they're kind of pivoting back where they got Hollywood Brown and they drafted Xavier Worthy, who are smaller, faster receivers. So they're sort of pivoting back now.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy is like a Tyreek Hill type, like little and thick.
He's not as thick. Like that's the one thing,
okay.
But he's fast as hell. Yeah, and he's tough and he's a good route runner for somebody that size. So that was another one where like everyone knew. Like with the minute they traded up, it's like, oh, yeah, they're going to get the Texas receiver. So I actually think, guys, like looking at it too, if you compare this to where we were a year ago, the gap between Kansas City and the rest of the AFC is bigger, not smaller.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like who's their biggest? Like I would say Cincinnati, maybe.
Cincinnati is
probably
if they're healthy. Yeah.
If Burrow's healthy, I think Cincinnati's probably the biggest hurdle for Kansas City.
Now
to
that
get
Buffalo's
back to
taking a step or two
right.
back. Sure.
Yeah. I think the Chargers will get there, but in year one under Harbaugh, are they going to be there? I don't know. Like it seems to me like they've got a clearer path back to the Super Bowl than they did last year. No question.
Yeah, I'd agree. And it's not going to happen, believe me, but unless the lightning in a bottle with the Jets and Rodgers was like unbelievable.
Which is possible because they do have a good player. That's a really good roster.
They have a very good roster. I don't know about the coaching. I certainly don't know about their offensive coaching, and it's just going to be up to Rodgers. And he's old and coming off an injury.
Yeah, and then you are looking at the swing factors is just like a number of old guys staying healthy, right? It's not just Rodgers, it's Tyron Smith, it's Morgan Moses, it's Mike Williams. If Mike Williams can stay healthy, he could be a big difference maker for them, but he's got to stay healthy.
If he does, it would be great if he did. I don't think it ruins their season if he doesn't. All right, Bert, thank you so much for the time. Read him an MMQB. Did you go to London?
I did, yeah. It was great.
There you
It's
go.
fantastic, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even ask. What a jerk. How was it?
It was awesome. It was I don't know if
It
I
was short.
say
It was like a quick.
it was a 4-day trip.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say, like, if you go over there, move heaven and earth to go to Premier League. It was like the Premier League games were unbelievable. We went to Chelsea. They played against Everton, and then we went to Arsenal, and they played against Aston Villa.
I'll look at Dan O'Brien paying attention to the show for the first time this morning.
The ticket situation was so much different than here. Like, so I had to pull every string to make it happen, and it was hard. It was like really, really hard. And we wound up getting these like last minute too. Like a lot of things worked out at the end, but it's like the way the tickets work there is so different. So StubHub there is highly unreliable. Like, like how if you buy a ticket on StubHub here, you got your ticket, right? Like I wouldn't think twice. Well, we went to Chelsea and we went to the offices and the ticket office wasn't open. We went to like one of the executive offices or whatever. And like there was a girl there who was very helpful, like explaining everything to us. And she was like, yeah, I know in the States StubHub is like a StubHub and all of these are very, very reliable. It's like, don't use those here. She's like, we have to turn away people at every game who have like the printouts from StubHub.
Counterfeit tickets?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's no regulation over it. Like it's very, very different. But it was awesome, man. Like, and I'll tell you this too. Like, I have so much better appreciation athletically for those guys after watching it live. Like, holy crap!
Really? After I saw Messi, I was like, I have no respect for these guys. All right. Yeah. He just
Just
stood
'cause
there
he's
the whole
short?
game. No, he just stood there the whole game. All right.
Except when he
Bert.
scored 2 goals.
Yeah. I don't know how
Did
he
you guys
did
both
it.
go?
Yeah. The whole show went. Don't
went.
worry about it.
All
It
of
was
us
a big gang affair.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
We were in a suite.
We were in the box.
Oh,
yeah.
with such luminaries as Kendra
I mean-
Middleton and
Matt McCarthy.
Matt McCarthy.
That guy who writes about sports. That guy.
I write about the Celtics.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Bert. We got to go. We'll be right back. Can do. This is Dan Roach music.
This is, I didn't even know until this morning, from the lavish Broadway musical Guys and Dolls, but featured in the movie, underrated movie, Let It Ride, with Richard Dreyfuss, David Johansen. It is a celebration of horse racing, horse betting, all things having to do with being at the track.
I see.
And that's, of course, what's happening tomorrow, Fred, with the Kentucky Derby.
Yes, the Kentucky Derby is on the way. Everyone's very excited. You're all going to dress like douchebags and go not to the Kentucky Derby, but to, as John said, some house on a cul-de-sac and
Canton, Mass.
hundreds and or not thousands of miles from Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's right. So as I was going over some of the horse names on FanDuel, as you pointed out earlier, Fred, you can actually bet the race right there. And I'm looking at some of the names, and I thought, wow, there's something very, very familiar about a lot of these horse names. And to that end, today we will be playing, is it a Kentucky Derby horse or a song from one of the Rocky soundtracks?
Oh!
All right, so Hardy, this came to him in like an epiphany after the show one day.
Wow.
He just said, I have an idea, and he said what it was, and he said, don't go look at the Rocky soundtracks. And we agreed.
Will do.
And don't look at the horses. He said, no problem there.
Damn
I have literally no interest in this
You've
at
ruined
all.
my week of studying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. So as we get closer and closer to gate time, I guess, or the final
Post time.
The post time. Thank you, Walt.
Post time.
Don't look now. Don't look.
All right.
You two, don't do anything. I'm just going to give you a name. You have to tell me whether it's the name of a horse running in tomorrow's Derby, or is the name of a song from one of the Rocky movie soundtracks.
Okay.
All right. And we're only going to Rockies 1 through 4.
Oh.
So, okay, you don't have to
All
worry
right.
about any Creed, Balboa, any of that stuff. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. We are going to start with Just Steel. Steel. Is that the name of a Derby horse or a song from one of the Rocky soundtracks?
Well, Rocky let his brother
Frank
do songs, and Frank was all about pumping steel or pumping porn stars whose last name was Steel.
Right.
I'm saying that's a Frank Stallone song.
I'm going horse, Hardy.
Fred?
You're really a loser.
That is incorrect. Wallach, on the other hand.
Absolutely. Hey.
Yes.
All right. Absolutely.
Just Steel is a 20-1 shot tomorrow, running out of the 6th position in the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Justin Steele would be a good porn name.
Yes, it would. Conquest. Is that the name of a Derby horse or a song from the Rocky soundtrack?
If you're not, I don't think you're not the type to go every other. I'm going Conquest would be a Derby horse.
You see, I'm going the other way. I think that's something from a Rocky movie.
Fred.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yes, that's right. But Wallach, on the other hand.
Is that right?
That is right.
All right.
That is correct. Conquest, you can, of course, you'll recognize it the second. This is from Rocky 2.
But stuff's happening. Like, it's
He's
montage.
working out. He's running up mountains.
Well,
Sure.
yeah, he's running up mountains.
Yeah.
The other guy's hitting
there's one
primitive computer.
They stop and, Adrian's there at the lodge in Russia. I'm with you no matter what. And then they break into another music video.
How is he going to win this fight? Dolph Lundgren has a pad that tells him how hard he's hitting.
He's being pumped full of steroids. He's running and hitting speed bags at the same time.
No, but he has a machine that when he hits it.
Yeah, they got it from Dave and Buster's.
Oh, you've never. Yeah, I know exactly. Like that's has been in bars since the 20s. Right. Now I have this for you. Have you ever thought of this? I used to blow the minds of my former co-host and John with this. Rocky 3. You got to train in the ghetto. You got to come to Watts and train at my gym. Apollo says.
That's right.
Come to where he says the brothers workout is what he says. full Olympic-sized pool indoors at the quote-unquote ghetto gym in Watts.
Okay, do we know that was in the gym, or did
We
they go
absolutely-
to
No,
to a different location for the pool?
I don't know if they shot it at a different location. What I'm telling you is he's staying in this one-bedroom garbage motel.
Yeah, the $1 Million Roosevelt Hotel.
He walks downstairs. He goes to this gym in Watts that's supposed to be all hard scrabbled, and there's a full-size Olympic indoor pool.
Okay, where's the scene that shows him walking from the training area over to the pool?
It's inferred. It's inferred that it's nearby.
Okay.
You're not finding a full-size Olympic pool in the ghetto.
So let me get this. So you're saying the point was, let's go to this garbage gym.
Yes.
And then go out to Beverly Hills to swim.
Can he swim? With a
Not at
name
the beginning.
With a name like Rock? Get it?
That's a fun one.
Yeah. All right. You know,
That didn't blow your mind like it's blown the mind of others.
let me ask you something.
How about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? His parents don't understand. Why will his mom only buy him zips and knock off clothes? Fast forward to the next part of the song. He's driving their brand new Porsche while they're on a getaway. Are you poor or are you rich, Fresh Prince? Your thoughts?
I think they were trying to teach him a lesson about spending money on important things, and cars are important things.
You know, Hardy's just, you know what Hardy is? He's a contrarian.
Well, I'm an apologist.
He's an apologist contrarian.
I see.
He's like one of these like Newsmax nuts. Anything you
right.
present him with, he's well, how do you know they didn't go somewhere else?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on the moon?
Let me
Have
ask-
you ever seen that? Why does water stay in the lake
All right,
if
all
we're
right,
not
Fred,
flat?
You know so much. Redemption. Is that the name of a derby horse or a song title from one of the Rocky soundtracks?
Why would the horse?
Redemption.
Why would the horse need redemption? It's just going to be put out to stud and then killed. Redemption is a Rocky song.
You know what? I'm reading you. I think Redemption is a horse.
If you're just going every other one, of course Wallach's going to win because that's how he.
Yeah, incorrect, Wallach.
Ah!
You're really a loser.
Yeah, that's right. Redemption is also from Rocky 2.
Oh.
What is next?
All right.
Because I will tell you, 3 and 4 are very watchable.
Well, let me tell you something. 3, you'll remember how it starts at the beginning, and things have changed for Rocky. So maybe Society Man is the name of a cut
That's
from
a
the
horse.
Rocky.
That's a horse.
That's a horse.
That's a horse.
Let's get out of here.
That's a horse.
I'm not as dumb as you think I am.
That's right.
That's right.
Society Man is the name of a horse. Society Man is long shot 50-1.
No, I
Because
got
the
it.
horse is just a dumb
Right.
animal.
It's not the horse's fault.
You know, when the horses, people think that, oh, my horse loves me, it's looking at me, that in fact they're brain dead and that their eyes
just
just
want
look
the
the way their
carrot
eyes
you're
look.
holding in your hand.
They don't even want that.
Yeah.
Apparently, their brain, if you gave them a chance to leave, they'd leave in 10 seconds.
Resilience, obviously a Rocky soundtrack song.
I don't think you listen too good.
No. Resilience is another horse, 20-1, running out of gate 19. How about this one?
I hope the gate 19 gets stuck.
How about the Sweetest Victory?
See, now this is a trap.
That's Sade's horse.
This is a trap.
That's Jimmy Eat World's horse.
The Sweetest Victory, Derby horse or a song from one of the Rocky soundtracks?
I'll go song.
Song.
Look at you guys. That's
Ooh.
no, it actually is a song from Rocky 4. Who could forget?
Down the avenue.
This could actually be a game too, where I just play you a song from one of the Rocky soundtracks. Not anything with vocals. I'm not going to play Eye of the Tiger.
Right.
But you could identify which Rocky this comes from.
I was in a lift yesterday, and the guy was listening to Delia, and that Survivor song came on.
Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger came on the radio, on regular radio.
Survivor, I
They
think
were
did a
playing Eye of the Tiger.
Actually,
Fred, that song could be on down the hall right now.
WROR.
Yes. Heavy rotation.
Oh,
Eye of the Tiger.
really?
Heavy rotation.
Did anyone like that song when it was actually
Sure.
like, out and about?
Sure. In 1983, which was 40 years ago.
All right.
Final one, boys. Fierceness Is that the name?
That's a horse.
Of a Derby horse or a song from the Rockies?
That's a horse.
That is
Fierceness.
From how about this, John? Would you like to make a wager?
What are we wagering?
I will give you all my used gum in my car. And
Deal. Fierceness is a horse.
Because I am absolutely certain it's a song from Rocky.
You can't win!
That is correct. Wallach, absolutely right.
Absolutely. Hey.
Yeah, it is Fierceness, 5-2 favorite.
Hey!
In tomorrow's Derby. Well done, Wallach.
Give me my gum and wrappers, damn it.
I got it. Nick, go under every bench. Go out to the park. Go to your kids. Go to the kids' school and start going under the desk.
It's a shame we didn't get to the other wrong horse one. Go ahead. Say it's the song again, Fred.
It's the song again.
See, that's when the horse hurts its hoof, so they have to do that to the horse.
They use a nail through the head.
A bolt gun.
A bolt gun, not a bullet would not penetrate their head. You know why John likes that? It's like it reverses the food chain.
Reverse.
Yeah, like anytime he sees a horse go down, he's like, tee-hee, one of my natural enemies is gone.
Okay. Well done,
right.
boys. I think he went about 50-50 on that.
Well, I'm sure a lot of our audience is very happy Guys and Dolls was played. All right.
Me too. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Boy, do I hate the musical theater.
Can do.
This is just
Can
awful.
do. This guy says the horse can do.
If my son was in this, I would just get up and walk out.
Can do.
Apparently Sinatra was in the movie version.
Wow, I can't believe that little faker was in a movie.
He was to buy a ham, do this here in the telegram.
He was so masculine, was he now? All right, here's the deal. We will be back. Your Boston Bruins.
P. Diddy of his day.
How dare you? He will be. We will be back in just a moment to talk about your Bruins.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Hardy for FanDuel, and the NBA playoffs obviously are in full swing, but it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel. Right now, new customers, $300 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. $300 to use on same-game parlays, live bets, championship futures, so much more on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel.com/Hardy to get started. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in Massachusetts. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Hope is here. GamblingHelplineMA.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234.
Lobster Lovers Weekend is back. Visit the 99 restaurants this Friday through Sunday and order their famous colossal or hot buttered lobster roll, and you'll get a free 3-course meal upgrade. This weekend only. You gotta love the nines.
What is insurance?
Insurance transfers certain risks between parties.
Without insurance, the economy would really stop.
In simple terms, insurance is like community.
It's protecting every last asset that somebody has built over a lifetime.
You're in it together. You feel supported.
From the beginning to the end.
What insurance is just taking care of people. It's definitely a way of life.
Cross Insurance. Our way of life since 1954.
Slipknot's 25th anniversary tour. Celebrating 25 years of Slipknot. August 15th, Xfinity Center. With special guests, Knocked Loose, and Orbit Culture. Slipknot live. The most explosive live rock band in the
Was Wall outstanding? I mean, was he outstanding? I mean, what did he do that was so outstanding?
I don't know. He could have gone to sleep the first 27 to 28 minutes.
I was going to say his second and third period, he was fine.
Yeah, he was fine. The Bruins got nothing going. And as we said before Game 6, even Hardy, that was very, and foolishly, very heavy on the Bruins in Game 6, he even at that point said if they lose Game 6, Game 7 is an afterthought. It's over.
It's a foregone conclusion. I don't care what happened before. And it was pointed out to me that this is the third time the Bruins have been up 3-1, dropped two games, and were forced to a Game 7. But they won the last 2 years. Last two times they got to this point.
Wait, no, they didn't. They lost last year.
Against Toronto.
Oh,
Against
well,
Toronto.
Yeah. I mean, they had the great game, the greatest game like in Bruins history again.
Right, the big comeback. You talked about it. You were gone and came back. But look, if you have your eyes were open and you were watching the Bruins play in Game 5 and Game 6, I don't know how you have any confidence, given the history, what just happened to this team last year, that they can come back in their own building and beat Toronto in a Game 7.
Can I ask you this? If they suck at home, they're 1-5 of the last 6 games in the playoffs at home, and they're tight in these game-clinching situations. Why would it be? What makes you think that they're going to turn it on in Game 7? They'll be even tighter than they were in Game 5 and 6.
I don't care who the opponent is, and it was brought up earlier in the show. It's Toronto, the biggest choke artists ever. Of course they could beat Toronto. It's different this year. They're playing better without their best player. They played better defensively without Austin Matthews. I'm not saying Toronto's going to go on and win the cup, but they sure as hell can beat the Bruins.
No, they'll probably lose in 5 to Florida.
That's the other thing. Exactly what I was thinking when I was watching that game last night. Like, not only are the Bruins going to lose this series, but Toronto is going to get absolutely curb stomped in the next round.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So are the Bruins, by the way.
Oh, yeah, probably.
The Bruins are going to lose to Florida.
The Bruins aren't playing Florida. The Bruins are going to lose Game 7. I mean, they're not playing Florida. I mean, and neither of you disagree with me.
No,
not at all.
There's no logical thing that. And the only good thing for Montgomery after he gets fired, which is unfortunate because I like the guy, is that he can say, well, it wasn't the goaltending. It wasn't anything I did with the goaltending.
That's a good point.
Unless Swayman craps himself in Game 7, and even then, who cares?
No. You can't blame him for starting Swayman tomorrow night.
No. You can't blame him for anything. He handled the goaltending correctly.
He saw that Omark was a little shaky in Game 2, went back to Swayman, and saw Swayman was playing well and stayed with him. So good for him.
So you've had an electric goaltender, and you still lose. And by the way, against a team with a backup goaltender and on paper, a bad defense.
Yeah, and
you can't get shots on goal. Shots on goal you can't get.
He may not have been handed the best roster this year, but to not show up to start back-to-back playoff games, just not really be there. And they were better. They were better in the first period last night. But what did it yield you? If you can't figure out a way to get the puck to the goaltender, I mean, it's one thing to have like, wow, that's a stingy defense up front. And one shot, that Wall had to make one stop midway through the game.
It wasn't even that. On the other end of the ice, Toronto was flying around. Why can't the Bruins have an on-time start against this team? What is it that Jim Montgomery is saying or not saying that prevents the Bruins from having an on-time start and looks like they showed up to play in the last 2 games? Why is that?
Matt, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
Watching the Bruins the last couple of games, it's absolutely pitiful in my mind. I mean, the puck handling is off. The lack of urgency to win games. Swayman's doing a fantastic job. It's not our goaltending. Overall, I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs, they don't even have that great of goaltending.
No, they don't have great goaltending. And listen, Wall was very good in Game 5. He didn't have to do anything last night. So he's not doing anything. And there's like this, it's a hot goaltender, this, that, and the third.
He was in Game 5.
He was in Game 5, but it's not like he won him the game last night.
But the problem is, and we brought this up after Game 5, you've given a mediocre goaltender confidence. Confidence in the defense in front of him, and confidence that if the defense breaks down, he can make the stop if he needs to.
Everybody knows Mark from Medford. Mark from Medford, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys. Long time no talk here.
Hey.
Up 3-1. It shouldn't have even gotten to this situation, up 3-1. But here we are yet again, and I do not feel confident right now. I mean, the only thing I feel confident about is Jeremy Swayman. This kid has given them chance after chance after chance to close this team out, and they couldn't do it for him. They let him down big time in this series. So the least they can do for him is leave it all out there tomorrow night and go balls to the walls, play like you played in the first game of the series, and beat the friggin' crap out of this team and send them golfing. Because my heart can't take this anymore. Every time I watch them play, another year of my life expectancy is gone.
All right. Well, listen, Mark, no one is wishing you dead. I mean, that should be incentive enough for the team.
But that's just simple math. Every year you watch them play, another year of your life expectancy is gone. Yes, that's just a calendar.
Well, maybe saying in addition to the year gone, it's like it's taking another one off the ledger.
Oh, then that's unfortunate.
And what's fun is I'm already looking at their cap situation for next year.
Yeah, if they could somehow adopt the BS Patriots mentality that they had for years, nobody believed in us. They would say that every time they would win an AFC championship or win a Super Bowl. Yeah, we did it. Everyone's out there saying we could get it done. Nonsense. Everybody thought you could get it done. You had the best quarterback and you had the best coach, and of course you got it done. This time, the Bruins, if they want to adopt that mentality, they'd be right. Nobody thinks you're going to win this game tomorrow night. Not the way you've played the last two games. Everyone is expecting this horrific repeat of what happened last season. Somebody said earlier, Fred, I don't know if this is true, no NBA or NHL team has blown a 3-1 series lead in back-to-back seasons. I find that hard to believe.
No, because I told you in hockey, 9-3. It's 91% of teams that are up in a series 3-1 win the series.
So maybe it's true.
So statistically, for the Bruins not to do this would be really something else.
And to do it in back-to-back seasons, someone said it hasn't been done.
Game 7 at home both years.
Yes.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Bruins, just know if you can use this as like fodder and you can use this as bulletin board material, it's actual, it's true. And people are now expecting you to lose Game 7 at home tomorrow night. Use it to your advantage, but I don't know that they can.
Look at all the other series. Every other team in basketball, Indiana finished things. You had the Knicks finish things. You had, it's just every other one out. You had the Oilers finish things. You had the Hurricanes finish things. You had the Avalanche finish things.
The
Predators finish things.
Well, no, the only team that didn't finish was Vancouver against Nashville.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
lost Game 5 at home. They have Game 6 tonight.
My bad.
In Nashville.
Well, take that away.
The overwhelming majority of what you said, Fred, is right. Vancouver's the only team that hasn't finished anything off. I can't.
The Celtics won.
Right. They blew the
They
other
won
team.
Game
They won
5.
by over 30 points. But to know that guys who went through this last year and has a firm memory of what can happen to if you let down your guard are letting this happen to them again. Marchand, Zaka, Pasternak, Allmark, all of these guys, Swayman, all of these guys were here last year and lived through it, and it's happening again. I don't know how you can. Most of all, Jim Montgomery, who apparently has not learned from any of the mistakes they made last year.
It's unfortunate. I like the guy. He's probably a good coach, but you can't.
You can't bring him back when they lose tomorrow night.
No.
You can't bring him back.
And you heard that Marchand, after he was tackled by the official, was yelling at Montgomery to start working the refs. And, there's a little bit of something going on there.
McAvoy, all of these guys went through the exact same thing on the exact same schedule, losing Game 5 and 7
Nicholas,
at home.
Answer the phones.
Last
Where is
year.
the other guy?
How do you let this happen again?
What's he doing? He's going to the bathroom?
No.
He's doing videos. Why is everyone doing videos during the show? There's two of you back there. Answer effing phone. David, go ahead.
Yes, guys. I think from the past two games, what I think is missing from the team is the leadership. I love Marchand, great players, but I think they're missing guys like Chara and Bergeron to just bark at the team and
Everyone,
get the
well, they lost with Bergeron last year.
Just because Bergeron was in charge last year.
Marchand, by all accounts, did a big, huge thing before Game 4 in Toronto. Then he made a speech apparently before Game 6. I mean, Marchand, according to everyone around the team, is conducting himself like the captain. I mean, I don't, he was the best player on the ice for the last two games they won. So I don't really know what you want out of the guy. But I don't know who it falls on, but it's going to fall on the coach. The coach is going to get fired, and they're going to have to do it because it's ultimately up to him. He knows it too. He's coaching for his job Saturday night. And unfortunately, I don't think there's any buttons he can press or things he can do to change the outcome of that game. Because the Bruins can't get anything done. And again, it would make more sense if these games were 5-3 Toronto than 2-1 Toronto or a 2-1 overtime game.
Better at this than they are.
If they're going to play this heavy brand of hockey and like clog up the neutral zone and stuff like that, then you and not allow you to attack the middle, you should be able to be better at that than them.
At this point, I just want the Bruins to be better in the first period.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I just want the Bruins to be better in the first period against this
because
team.
John, again, last night, if they got a 1-0 lead, they were going to win the game. Like, you knew it.
I know.
You knew if they got a 1 in Game 5 for sure. Yeah. And I don't doubt last night you shut the crowd up. You take the confidence away from their goaltender.
That crowd was tight even when it was scoreless.
Yes.
I mean, they were. You could tell, and I said it in my foolish lead up to Game 6. You score on Wall first. You're going to remind him that he's only been in there for a game or a game and a half, and you're going to be able to get to him. But when you don't get to him and you allow the first goal, that's it. I mean, how sad is it that this has now become the team when it's 1-0, you think, well, this one's over.
That's what I thought. As soon as that shot went through the screen, as soon as Nylander, as soon as that Nylander shot went through a screen and they fell behind 1-0, I thought that might be it. This team isn't going to score a goal. You saw the flurry at the end of the first period. Very, very fortunate the Bruins came out of that first period scoreless. And you know how they responded? They disappeared for the first 7 or 8 minutes of the second period.
You got to be careful the last minute of that second period. What I've been telling you, nobody wants to listen to me. Nobody
no response.
Nobody believes me. Last 2 minutes of the second period, someone's going to score here. It should be you.
Can't get pucks to the net. An unusual skill, taking 15 shots and only landing one on net. I mean, that's really hard to do.
Especially when that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do all day is play around with pucks. You would think that you would be able to
you
get
think
it on net.
Pastrnak would be able to get one within 3 feet of the net?
These guys didn't just start playing hockey. They should be able to figure this out.
Tight, squeezing the stick. Oh, they're nervous.
I mean, they had a couple opportunities yesterday. Who had the opportunity? Missed. There was an open net in the. Missed wide.
In the third.
Marchand was on the right post, right at the end there.
No, not at the end. Before then, okay. It might have been. It might have been Geeky. It had some. I
think you're right.
It was Zucker or Geeky had some opening and then missed by a good 2 feet.
But they had better chances in Game 5. Much better chances in Game 5 than they did last night.
Yeah, they had a couple of. I think it was that same chance for it. It's like lift the puck a little bit, and instead he stuck it right into Wall's pad.
Frederick is by himself at the left post.
Yes,
and can't stuff it in. That was Game 5.
Yeah,
they didn't have anything like that last night.
Matt, go ahead.
Guys, I think everybody's ignoring the fact that this team has completely overachieved over the last couple of years. I mean, when you got a guy like Morgan Geeky on your first line who might be a third liner in the league, that's a massive problem. Along with the fact that you don't have a true number one center. You do not have a center that you could throw it on the ice and win an offensive zone draw that you got to win. This team has massive holes. It's been completely exposed, and enough is enough. It's time to shake it up, move pieces, and go get some talent to actually maybe compete to win a Stanley Cup. Because this team has no chance.
Well, they're going to have they were up in this series 3-1 with 3 chances to win it. You'll be able to make some changes on defense because Grizzlick's gone, Forbort's gone, Shattenkirk's gone. But in terms of your forward core group, no one's going anywhere next year. You're losing DeBrusque, but other than that, you got what you got. I mean, Van Riemsdyk makes $1 million. Maroon, doesn't make any money, and Boquist doesn't make any money, and Heinen doesn't make any money.
Pavel Zacha, who is your number one center, de facto number one center at the moment, lost 9 of 10 faceoffs last night.
And he's not going anywhere.
And for the last 2 games, he's won 5 faceoffs and lost 22.
He's here for the next 3 seasons, and how are you going to get rid of him? And you don't want to get rid of Marchand. I take it. Next year's his last year. I mean, you're married to this core. I mean, it just is what it is.
And I'm fine with Marchand, but there are other pieces that can be moved, and there are other guys that I'm more than willing to live without going forward. And you fix the goaltender situation where maybe just have one starting goalie.
Well, I don't
see if you can allocate the resources being used by the second guy somewhere else.
I mean, you're just not going to get a good return on Ullmark, but you're going to have to get rid of him, and then you're going to have to re-sign Swayman, and that's going to be expensive. And you're gonna have to get rid of Ullmark because he's making $5 million next year. You're gonna have to get rid of him for like barely anything in return, and then you're gonna have to re-sign Swayman, and that's gonna take up a bunch of money. And you're gonna have to get 2 new defensemen, at least 3 new defensemen. But Shattenkirk's on the team, I guess, the next 2 years.
I'm wondering when they lose tomorrow night, and you're Jim Montgomery, and you sit down across from Don Sweeney and Cam Neely, what is it that you can possibly say to argue for your job?
I don't know. We'll get back to it. 617-779-0985. We'll be right back.
Sports Hub headlines.
Bruins lost again last night, 2-1 in Toronto, and now for the second straight season, a 3-1 playoff lead has turned into a Game 7 at TD Garden. That game is tomorrow night. Celtics will play either Cleveland or Orlando in round 2 of the NBA postseason. Cavaliers lead 3-2. They visit the Magic this evening. Patriots have signed veteran free agent kicker Joey Sly. And the Red Sox lost to San Francisco yesterday, 3-1. Giants avoid a 3-game sweep. Sox hit the road. They are in Minnesota to play the Twins tonight. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by WellPoint, formerly Unicare. They've teamed with Charlie...
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub. And then subscribe. And then we're going to get Mr. Beast-like numbers, and then we can start doing $1 million stunts. Cedric Maxwell will be joining us, his weekly appearance at 9 o'clock.
All right. We'll get nice break with the Celtics next week. Regardless of who they play, it's going to be Tuesday, then Saturday, right?
If Cleveland wins tonight, they will play game 1 at the Garden Sunday at 1.
And then Tuesday, game 2.
Yes, and then
Saturday.
Saturday.
But if they
game 3.
But if it goes the other way, we get game 1 on Tuesday.
Correct. Tuesday at 7.
And game 2 on Saturday.
Then I think it goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Oh, okay. Right.
If it goes to a game 7.
Well, then I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, they stick.
I just want the schedule.
They picked a big time game for Sunday at 1.
Yep.
Everyone wants that Cleveland
top seed. Yep.
They want that Cleveland-Boston game Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Well, who wouldn't?
Put it right up there.
Yeah.
Right in the spring. Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's home watching TV.
Yep. Just jam it on in there. So there you have it.
Jam it on the one.
Jam it on the one, as they used to say. There you have it. The Bruins, a Game 7, which I don't think anyone would bet on them in that Game 7. It seems like a lost cause. And I dare you to care about this team in February of next year, regardless of record. I dare you to care. Because even, the biggest fans, even Xanadu has got to be saying to himself, it's just an exercise in futility. We can go through the whole regular season, and they can achieve whatever they want, but then when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter. And that's all I've been saying is even when they were up 3-1, just get through this round. If you get through this round, not only is it this season, but it gives you a little juice next season. But if you don't get through this round, which you're not going to, it just is. And that's the way fans of the team should look at it. Just make other plans on Saturday. So here would be my suggestion, is that you go somewhere where the game will be on television, but the audio won't be on, and you have other things to do and talk to. Perhaps bowling. Perhaps if there was a place with skee-ball, you could do something like that. Just have it on in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Go to the movies. Check your phone about every half hour. Do something else. Keep an eye on the game, but don't go crazy watching it.
No, go to Topgolf. Put the game on the TV up there on one of the screens.
Good idea.
Yeah, just something to keep.
But if you're playing Angry Birds at Topgolf, then you're gonna have it on the screen, and you're gonna be trying to concentrate on Angry Birds.
There's 3 screens up there, dude. You can change one of them. You're fine.
I guess we attack Topgolf a little bit differently. I go to the one in Knoxville where you can see in the distance. Was that a Waffle House?
Well, yeah, if I had Freddie T money, every time I wanted to go to Topgolf, I would get on an airplane and fly to my location of choice. I choose to go to the one that's 8 minutes from my house.
You think you have the money, you'll ever have the money to go to Farragut, Tennessee, to the Topgolf there, Hardy? I mean, that's got to be a pipe dream. Hardy always tells me, he's like, you're showing how much money you have to the audience. He's like, they're going to start resenting you, and then now I know why.
That's one of my favorite things. Tell Fred when we were putting that mattress on yesterday. I'm like, oh, pillow top, can't hide money.
Yeah.
Does he have a dust ruffle too? A duvet, perhaps?
Oh, you did, please. I mean, I have a toaster cozy. I mean, I have things like that.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, Hardy was impressed by the amount of knitted items I have. If you're just joining us, Hardy and I, with very little help from young Nicholas, who was very late, went and we moved mattresses upstairs, took bedding to the basement, took the mattress from downstairs, brought it to the second floor. There was 4 floors of work going on. Mm-hmm. And Hardy was so feeling himself afterwards. He's like, what else do you need to have done? And I'm like, I guess, these shelves, you got a stud finder? I go, no, I don't.
No. I'll be back with the stud finder and the level, and those shelves will be up. I want you to start thinking now, though. Here's what I don't want, Fred. I don't want to show up there and be like, I don't know, just put them on the wall. Okay, what's going to go on the shelves? Because that will determine how far apart the shelves have to be.
Have to be reinforced, the shelves, if heavy stuff goes on.
Nah, we're going into the studs either way.
Okay.
Yeah, you could perch up on one of those shelves.
He said, he goes, you don't want to put an anchor in. He's like, that's for chumps.
Yeah,
He's
drywall anchors. No, you don't want to do that. We're
He
going to
said
go
that's
into the
for
studs.
chumps.
We're going into the studs, but I want to know what's going on the shelves and approximately where you want the shelves so that we can just say, all right, they're going here, and then we're going to stagger. We're going to go down. We're going to go here, and then we're going to put them up.
Last Bear Week. What are you doing? Going into the studs. Josh, go ahead.
Fred, what were the Bruins' expectations coming into the season? Realistically, what did you expect that they would be?
I thought that they'd make the playoffs. I thought they'd probably be a 3-4 seed.
Right. So, I mean, basically everybody thought they'd be like the 8th wild card spot.
No, I just said I thought they'd be a 3-4 seed. I thought that they would be a 3-4 seed.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So they've kind of overachieved to this point, and now you're playing with kind of fool's gold. I mean, you lost last year was terrible. It was awful. But you lost Bergeron at literally the worst time, and I'd argue he's the piece that you're missing this year because you can't win a goddamn faceoff.
Well, this is why I say last year felt worse, and you and I agree on that. But I also say it's okay to change expectations based how the season goes.
If you were the owner, would you fire Montgomery?
I don't know if I'd fire Montgomery. I think last night's not really on him.
How is it not?
Last night's on the forward group.
Okay, then what do you do? Because I just told you can't rebuild the forward group. You're not going to have enough money. So I don't know what you want them to do.
I think you have enough money. You just got to move certain pieces out. I think you got to move Lindholm out, get a forward in.
Get out of here! Move Lindholm out. And now
who's taking that contract?
Well, and people would take that contract. Then who's going to be your second defenseman? If you move Lindholm, who's going to be your second defenseman? You're losing Grzelcyk and Forberg. Here's who you have signed next year on defense: Mason Lohrei, McAvoy, Lindholm, Carlo. That's who you have, and Andrew Peak. Who's going to play defense for you next year if you get rid of Lindholm? And who are you getting to replace him? What forward are you getting that brings as much value to you as you have with Lindholm on defense? That's nonsense.
And how do you not blame Jim Montgomery? The way they've been playing.
The problem with Lindholm is the same problem you had last year, is that he looks fine in the regular season, and when things get tougher, literally in the playoffs, and play becomes more physical, he's not as good. He's not as effective.
But I would argue defense hasn't been their problem. Their problem has been getting even pucks on net. That's the problem. I'm sure Lindholm hasn't had the greatest playoff series of all time, but it's not like Toronto's elite offensive talent's going nuts. Cedric Maxwell is set to join us in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Hey, baseball.
on the hub.
Oh, Patrick. Or, yeah. Cedric, we're Patrick, Cedric, yeah, like whatever. You're not as popular as us. We're really popular.
Patrick said well with us.
This is in the deli department. I was like, damn, okay.
And those are the guys that make the real money there. I mean, they give them they got to slice the meat. They got to know the thickness in which to do so.
Max, we're the glue. Where it's for everybody. It could be deli. It could be Main Street or Wall Street. Doesn't matter. This is the place. Okay?
Just get used to your Q rating going up.
Okay, I get it.
You know what went viral on the internet recently was you going to the stands in Philadelphia. That went viral.
You know what? Why would that go viral? Because and it's really crazy. I was sitting at Encore at the casino last week, 3 or 4 days ago, playing poker. And all of a sudden, I look up and I see me going in the stands in Philly. I'm like, why are they playing this crap?
Anniversary.
It's still in litigation right now. Why?
I think that maybe it was the anniversary, but
May 1st was the anniversary of it.
Okay, good. Yes. But I don't think every May 1st they do it. I think it's because of the alleged dirty play that in the Philadelphia New York series.
Oh, I got it.
And I think they're going, oh, you think that's bad? Look at how tough guys used to be.
John, watch how this goes. Oh, I got it. Black guy attacking a white guy. I get it. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, you do. Thanks. Okay. That's exactly what it was.
By the way, Max was fined $2,500 and wasn't suspended for that.
Yeah, but that was part of the game then. That was a little viciousness that went on, and that's how we hated the Philadelphia fans, and they hated us. It was great theater.
But both teams supported you. Like Philadelphia, even the 76ers players supported you. Like both teams agreed on one thing. You were in the right and the fan was in the wrong. And they even mentioned that on the TV coverage, announcers.
Well, the other announcers said Maxwell was wrong. He can't say that. The fans can say what they want. Well, if the fans say what they want, they also can get an ass kicking, okay? That's how that goes.
Have you ever said what the guy said to you?
I have, but you wouldn't want to hear it on air.
Okay.
Well, was it the bad, the real bad thing?
Yeah. There's a letter that follows M. You might not want to use that one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You gotta. What are you gonna do? What is Max supposed to take that just because the guy's a fan?
Well, that's what Max. I said this. I've said this numerous times. I've said it about Marcus Smart when he was in college, LeGarrette Blount when he was in college. When it's either a fan or even another player, they're trying to get a reaction out of you. That fan in Philadelphia that night was trying to get a reaction out of you.
Well, he did.
He got one.
You got the bonus prize. Good for you.
It's not the one he wanted, but he got a reaction.
Let's use the word bingo.
Well, he was dressed to the nines.
That's right. Well,
you can't get away with a sport jacket like that anymore. I don't know if you recall, Cedric, but it was he was.
At a basketball game, surely.
Yeah, he was in a polyester coat of some kind. Yes.
Did you see? We're talking about this. Something happened with Patrick Beverley last night. Did you see that, Max?
I did.
Yeah.
I saw where the fan threw the ball or at him, and then he fired the ball back at the fan. It's going to, again, the fan conduct. We can talk about player conduct, but fan conduct has gotten outrageous at some of the games. I've been embarrassed by some of the things that have been said, even at a Celtic game. I mean, I did not like, and I'll say it again, people won't like this, but when Kyrie Irving was here, I did not like the FU Kyrie chant. I didn't like it because we had young kids there, and that's beyond Celtic fans. That isn't what you do at a basketball game, especially if you have younger minds there.
That's fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, you bring it. You think it's a family environment, and then you get that going. All right. With the Celtics, now Miami is over, and I will ask you the obvious question that I ask everyone, and they tell me it's obvious. But would you rather play Cleveland or Orlando in the next round?
Wow, that's interesting because I think both teams present their different problems. Orlando, I think, because of Vancaro. His big size, Wagner, the other crazy Wagner brother, he's in the mix there. I think they have good guard play. I think the better matchup might be Cleveland, but Donovan Mitchell, he brings fear to me because Spider Mitchell is so good individually, one-on-one. He presents a problem, that he can go out any night and get you 30, 35. So I just think it's going to be very interesting with both teams. But if you ask me which one I think would be a better matchup, I think it would be Cleveland.
With Kristaps Porzingis out now, how does that change the Celtics offensively and defensively? We told there'll be massive changes. How specifically does it change things?
It's going to change the obviously front line. Al Horford's going to have to play more minutes. I give you guys that, that inside stuff. I was walking out yesterday, a couple of days ago after the game, with Kristaps. And I was asking him some questions. I was like, how are you doing, man? He said, I'm doing fine. He said, I'm getting better. He said, I'm going to be back soon. And what I said to him, I said, your availability is what's going to take the Celtics to a championship. And he said, absolutely. I believed in 100% I'm going to be back. So that was behind the scenes that I'll tell you about what happened.
How did he look like walking and everything?
He was good. He looked good. Kristaps, if most people have been around him, he's wearing flip-flops. So he wasn't wearing some slides. I mean, it wasn't anything like he had on sneakers or anything. And he looks like, he's at the point where, he can probably start to rehab. And, I feel a lot more confident by him coming back and just hearing what he said.
I was kind of a couple of times during the regular season a little worried about how much they were relying on Porzingis. I'm glad he's made an impact. I'm glad he's out there and he's asserted himself. But if you could give it a percentage, Max, how much less do you like the Celtics' chances of getting through to the championship game without Porzingis? Because they've come to rely on him quite a bit.
50%.
Wow.
But I would say that if you did not have Tatum, I'd say that if you didn't have Brown.
Yeah.
I think this team is interconnected.
Okay.
And I think one leads to another. I think Kristaps Porzingis, he makes it easy for Tatum and Brown because his ability to stretch the floor. And then it gives Tatum a chance to drive towards the hole. It gives Brown the ability to make shots. He makes it much better for everybody out there. Joe Mazzulla can go to him. The thing about it, no offense at all, when Rob Williams was here, that's one thing that Rob did not do. He did not score in the paint. And because of that, when they switched and they double-teamed, the Celtics had a lot of problems. Now, if you switch and double-team, Porzingis punishes you in the paint when you make that switch.
Fred, I thought you had a question. No?
I'm looking at you, John.
Okay. All right.
That means
I guess that means it's my turn. Did you see any of the New York-Philadelphia series, Max?
Absolutely. Very seldom I watch basketball, but it was must see. I enjoyed it immensely. What I'm going to hate if it pairs up, it was going to be the Knicks fans coming into this building if these two teams meet, the Celtics and the Knicks, because there might be no more arrogant fan than I've seen than New York Knicks fans coming into the Boston Garden. They bring a but there's no more pleasure in beating the Knicks fan and sending them home sad than anything else.
Did you see that in game 4 in Philadelphia that it was almost all Knicks fans and they were putting
in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, they were putting the Chamberlain jersey on the Wilt Chamberlain statue. Do you think they could take over the Garden like that? Do you think that tickets will be available and it could become almost like a 40% Knick crowd?
No, I don't think that happens in Boston. I think the fan base is too loyal for that. But I think the Knicks fans are going to come and they'll be there. Is anybody going to say anything to Tracy Morgan? When he gave the double finger right now to one of the players, just said, Maxie, go to hell right now when you made the shot. It could be an outstanding environment if these two teams are able to get to the next round.
We were talking about, just real quick to go back to Philadelphia for a second, we were talking on the show yesterday about Joel Embiid And he won the MVP last year, but it always seems that when we get to this point in the season, he gets tired or looks gassed or he's hurt. What is your opinion of that player?
I love him as a player, but I think that, physically, he's just a big dude. You're going to probably have to rest him a little bit more. Very much like the Celtics have done with Porzingis, with Horford, give him more opportunities to rest. Now, will you win as many games? You probably wouldn't. But would you be in better shape in the playoffs? I think you would, because he'd have more in the tank. Essentially, he was playing obviously off one leg. He did not have any push. The Knicks dominated the glass. And that was the key, that they got second chance opportunities anytime they wanted to when they missed shots.
Max, I know you're not supposed to look ahead, but that's for analysts and players. For me, I can look at the Knicks and say, what would you do that hasn't been done defensively against Jalen Brunson? Is there anything that can be done to slow him down a little bit?
Well, I think what you have two outstanding guards. There's a guy named Derek White that's over there.
I've heard
that happens to be out. That has to be outstanding. And I think if you say Drew Holiday, another guy who's outstanding individually, one-on-one playing. There's a lot of pairings that the Celtics have that they could throw at the Knicks. And as an analyst, I can look forward just like you. I'm not playing, but if the two teams were to get together, Brunson obviously would be a big problem. But let's not look past Indiana, because Indiana's going to create a lot of problems for the Knicks. They're going to run, and they're going to run, and they're going to run again. And the Knicks are going to have to do more scoring. And because of that, you're putting a lot more pressure on Brunson and the other guys, DiVincenzo, to score the basketball. So I'm not going to look by Indiana. They can give them some. Halliburton has been playing unbelievable basketball this year. Naismith, who left here, went to Indiana, has helped them out and become a nice starter.
That was the team that made me lose my mind when the Celtics lost to him in the regular season when they were without Porzingis. I'm like, now you can't beat the Pacers without Porzingis. But the more I watch them, the more I say, well, they're still a pretty solid basketball team. So, that could be an issue too.
Rick Carlisle has given them confidence,
Yep.
and Rick Carlisle has given him self-confidence to do something that he would never do. He wanted to control the flow of the game most of the time when he was in Dallas or most of the places he's been. But now he just throws the ball out there and says, Halliburton, you want to make some of these crazy plays and jump in the air, throw it off the backboard. Look, guys, have at it. And because of that, they just have fun out there. And they stretch the floor out, they shoot the three, and they dare you to score more points than them. That's it. They're not even trying to defend. They're trying to just outscore you.
All right, Cedric Maxwell. Look forward to you hearing the game call the game either Sunday or Tuesday. It depends on what happens tonight. But, Cedric, we always appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time.
Let's go Bruins.
Thanks.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well.
Thanks, Max.
That ship has sailed.
It's all over, Max. You're the only game in town now.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, God. Come on, Johnny Wallach, please.
Yeah. All right. Very good. There you go, Cedric Maxwell. Thank you so much for the time,
Thanks,
sir.
Max.
We appreciate it. What? Hey, what?
There he goes. Whoops. Yep.
All right. Al, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning. So, Celtics in the playoffs, playing the Knicks. Guys should do a fun contest today. Naming a horse that has to do with the Kentucky Derby, but has to do with the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics team of some sort. So I want to put my entry in now. If you guys are going to do the contest, and maybe something like 99 gift cards, something like that. What do you think? Sounds like fun?
I don't know what kind of operation you
What the hell is he talking about?
I don't think you know what kind of operation this is, but if you think we just have 99 gift cards to give away, I mean, I can get you maybe
Eddie V's. Come on, Fred.
Yeah, I can maybe get you like 10% off of Valvoline oil change, but if you think we're going to go 99 gift cards.
You're not swimming in Eddie V's cards?
They're not for me, though. They've been earmarked for Gorman.
Kidding.
Yeah.
I got two Eddie V cards
Tell
at
him
my
to
house.
Tell him to use them quick, because there might be a date on them.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no.
Not all gift cards are endless expiration.
They are not, Hardy, as I have learned.
Well, won't there be egg on my face when Mike goes out and then he's like, "What? I didn't bring my wallet. I only brought these gift cards." And it'll be like, "I'm never coming on that
I don't
station
know why
again."
you just won't mail him the gift cards.
We discussed this, and I told you why, and it ruins your thing. So I don't know if you want me to repeat it. I said, "Do you want me to mail you the card? I'll mail you the cards." And he goes, "Come on, please." He's like, "We'll at the show." In fact, he goes, "We'll go out and we'll use them together."
Okay, well, let's set up a date.
I like it.
You know, he's been a bit busy. You think that his priority right now is I should go, "Hey, you just finished your career up 2 days ago. When we going out to eat?"
Yeah, he even when he was, finishing his career calling the Celtics games, there were off nights.
His
There are plenty of
family's
them.
in town. He is. He's.
None of us have families. Good. What else?
I don't think that with the people surrounding him right now that we're in that club. It seems like a family, dear friends. Like I think that we would be on the second, third level of that.
I bet if you called him right now and say, "Hey, I know you've been too busy to have dinner," he's like, "I haven't been too busy. I was waiting for you to call and set it up."
Well, I texted him after his last game, and he never texted me back. So I chalked it up to, you know what? What did I do? No, I chalked it up to, he's a busy man right now.
Yeah, in the half an hour after he finished
Jesus
his
Christ.
last game.
Why don't you call him?
I'm not the one who has this texting relationship with him and has soft dinner plans.
All right, I'll
Make
call him.
hard
There you go.
dinner plans.
Their problem solved. I'll call him this
What
weekend.
would you
There
do,
go.
John?
No, we want him to reply.
What would you do, John? Would you take Hardy's strategy of beating him, of putting him on the spot, or would you take mine of waiting patiently?
I would have gotten the man his gift cards. That's what I would have done.
I don't think he's overly concerned about the gift cards.
Well, you bring him up enough to make me think that you're concerned about him.
Because no, you just brought him up. He brought up Eddie V's.
I didn't bring up nothing. I'm minding my own business.
He said Eddie V's 3 times.
I brought him up because the guy wanted a 99 gift card. And I said, aren't we silly with Eddie V's card?
And the Eddie V cards, he goes, "You have Eddie V's cards." And I go, "Yeah, they're earmarked for Gorman." And then you started your little diatribe. Ignoring
Fred,
all
I'm
the
with
facts.
you. Circle the wagons. Keep the family close. Now is the time to reflect on that. After even the Celtics season ends, if it goes all the way through, because he's going to be busy, he's going to have things to do, Celtics related, and then if there's, God forbid, all the celebration stuff.
You weren't there yesterday, Dan. I'm a doer. I show up and I do things. All right. You guys want to sit around and talk about doing things? I'd rather do them. You want to? You know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to go to get a cup of
So
coffee.
it's all about you.
I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. You go ahead and waddle around and fiddle around and talk about your gift cards a little bit more. Throw it to break in another 2 minutes or so. I'll be done drinking my coffee by the time you move things along. Let's go. Do, Fred. More do. Let's you do. Do it.
We'll be back. His mandatory daily mention of Kendra Middleton every day, whether she's pertinent to the conversation or not. He just has to work her name into a conversation.
That and the Jets.
Everyone is obsessed with something, I guess. Yeah, that is true.
Good morning, gents. Caught a bit of you ganging up on Bert this morning about Birkenstocks. Wanted to back him up. They are definitely not just for hippies anymore. Like Vans off the wall have expanded past skate culture. Birks have grown into a massive fashion trend similar to LL Bean duck boots and now Sambas. All because
Vans
of
off the wall, like Kleenex brand tissues.
Celebrities jumping on the trends. You know what that
What
bothers
celebrity? The
you know
dude
what-
from Maroon 5?
Okay, so that bothers me, and there's someone in my own home who's done this, and I don't know why it bothers me so bad. It happened very organically. Something was on TV. She came in and said, "What are you watching?" She goes, "Oh, I know. That's National Lampoon's Animal House." Like, what'd you say? She said, "National Lampoon's Animal House." I said, "Why don't you just call it Animal House?" She goes, "That's not the name of the movie." I said, "No one does that. Just like no one says Vans off the wall. They're Vans. Or it's Animal House."
That's National Lampoon's Vacation.
But she says that too. National Lampoon's Vacation. I'm like, what?
No, that's wrong.
Just in case,
Yeah,
like,
what's
someone...
the name of the what's the name of the movie with Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo? The first one. What's that movie?
Vacation.
Right. Not National Lampoon's Vacation.
It's Vacation.
Because no normal person says that.
No one knows.
Who does that?
My roommate. My wife.
Oh.
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 That's
Trouble in Paradise.
But
Negative
yeah,
in the
in moments
column.
like that, I'm like, oh,
It's a negative in the column.
I don't know if this is going to work out.
All right. So the Belichick roast, which is the Brady roast that Belichick is participating
The
in.
greatest roast of all time, they're calling it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was emailed odds, Hardy, from Bet Online that you can go online and bet on this. For instance, total first week viewership.
I don't have any idea.
Over under of 82.5 million views. For
Is that
some
real?
reason.
Oh,
yeah,
views.
it's what it is. I'm looking at it.
Not viewers, but views.
Views, total views.
Across all platforms? No.
First week viewership.
I'm not
All right.
touching that.
Surprise roasters. Odds of surprise roasters. Peyton Manning minus 200. Eli Manning minus 150. Jason Kelsey plus 150. But then they have some wild ones like Mark Wahlberg 5-1. Matt Damon 6-1.
Oh, that's so wild.
Yeah, what's so wild about that, John? That's actually
Why
not wild
why
at
would
all.
Wahlberg show up? What
Why
connection
wouldn't
is
it? Why wouldn't he?
Could it be a thing watched by millions and millions of people live on Netflix? I mean, it's not like above him. Why? Because he's a celebrity. I mean, if you said Fred, then I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's weird. Like, why would that loser local disc jockey be on the roast? Why would someone famous be something for famous people?
Bill Simmons 12-1.
Oh, boy. If they listen, Bill Simmons is very successful, but if they trot Bill Simmons off on a comedy event and go like, here's a special guest, a lot of people said no.
Here's one for you. Robert Kraft 50-1.
Oh, if Kraft does it, it's going to be the best. Yes. You're real L7, four corners, Tom.
Aaron
I remember
Rodgers.
when you had first signed you were real Poindexter. You know, I had a machine that was lean and it would make the chicks cream. It was called Grease Lightning. Go ahead. Who?
Aaron Rodgers 75-1.
No, there's no way.
Okay. First X to get mentioned. Now
They're not allowed to.
Well, we Giselle is off limits, but is it all X's?
Is Giselle on that betting list?
It is. She is on this betting list for some reason.
And it just mentioned her at all?
Yeah, first X to get mentioned. That's what it says here.
Well, I don't know if there's a rule about not mentioning Giselle because I guess that they would be like you have to like let them at least mention Giselle. I know what the bet is, John.
Okay,
but I'm gonna say, but I don't think they're allowed to talk about the divorce. Now, if they come out there and then the information I have is wrong, if they are allowed to talk about the divorce, I would say the first, because it could be Kevin Hart in the beginning going, he was married to like a famous, I would say Giselle would be first, but I mean, Tara Reid's going to have the easiest jokes about her because she's someone that they can abuse and punch down to that can't fight back.
Third favorite at 5-1, Tara Reid.
And Moynihan is second, and then
Moynihan is 4th at 6-1. Irina Shayk. Is that how you pronounce her name?
No.
Oh, that would be super funny.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, remember that beautiful model that you banged a few times?
Yeah.
And just to go back to
You're a real loser.
To go back to Wahlberg for a second, you
Yeah.
know what? You know why Wahlberg shows up? That Arthur the Dog movie that apparently got good reviews, like the critics like it.
Is it about a drunk dog?
No.
That just is inherited a bunch of money? Is
Yeah,
Liza Minnelli in it?
Yes, the dog wanders in on Mark Wahlberg. He said, "I thought you were gonna get us some hookers." No, very bad at the box office, so he needs some publicity. So Mark Wahlberg would show up just to be.
I never heard of Arthur the Dog, and I go with my daughter to the movies like twice a month. Go ahead.
Arthur the King, I think it's.
I would have seen anything.
Jessica Simpson is also on this list. It's 16-1.
He banged Jessica Simpson?
Apparently, I didn't know that.
Jessica Simpson was so good looking back then. Hachi.
First guest to roast Brady, Bill Belichick 2-1.
No.
That's what it's.
They're going to put Belichick up
Belichick's
first
the favorite
on a live roast?
Belichick's the favorite.
All right.
Ben Affleck 4-1. Julian Edelman 5-1. Drew
Get it out of the
Bledsoe.
way.
Drew Bledsoe 5-1.
This is going to be such an unmitigated disaster. I'm so confident in it. It's going to run so long, and it's going to be so bad. So bad.
How about
so
this?
bad. So many corny football jokes. Oh.
How about this? Massage parlor to be mentioned during the roast. Yes, plus 300. No, minus 400.
100% yes. 100% yes. It's live. Yes, they are going to mention. They're gonna talk about Kraft getting the thing. There's 100% yes.
Will Bill Belichick wear a cutoff sweatshirt? No, minus 700. Yes, plus 400. Will Rob Gronkowski spike something? That's a bet.
Not if he is a
apparently.
comedian writing for him.
Yeah.
All this interest and all these odds make me want to watch this so much less.
I know.
Because now I'm thinking about all the lame jokes that could happen.
If I wasn't on the radio, I wouldn't watch it at all. But since we're on the radio, I'm watching it
Kinda have to.
because it's going to be it's a gift from God. It's better than the Bruins winning Game 7. I mean, this roast is going to. I mean, there's going to be a clip from this roast that lives for the in perpetuity on this show. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Like Edelman's going to go like cheer or something like that, and it's going to be something we play forever.
One last one. Mentions of Tom Brady unretiring. The over/under.
Oh well, the how many mentions?
Yes.
75, 100, 150. Nothing. No number is too high.
Yep.
Because Belichick will do it, every athlete will do it, and it's just going to be awful. I can't believe that model. They must think there are restrictions if that model is the second one.
She's the second favorite behind Giselle.
That was like the really good looking girl that he was having sex with after he got divorced from Giselle, right?
There are pictures of them on a boat together. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, imagine that. Like, look at you. You had sex with this beautiful model a few times, and then when you got sick of it, you left her. You cad. You loser. You're such a loser. You can bang like the hottest women in the world, and when you get sick of them, leave them and not even worry about it because another one's around.
It's really
the corner.
not roast fodder.
No, that's about the opposite of roast fodder.
No.
Unless just Jeff Ross does like he has her picture like taped to like someone's head or something like that, and then that would be a hacky joke. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jonathan.
Bet
It's going to be quite a scene there at the Netflix roast. It's going to go forever, and it's going to be real bad. And it's going to be so bad that it's going to give us at least 2 segments worth of material, if not 3.
Oh yeah, I would say solid 2.
When's it playing? 10 o'clock on Sunday? Is that when it's airing? You got all the odds in front of you, but you don't have the time.
I don't have
late?
the time.
Surprised it's that late.
Doesn't say. I don't have the time.
Well, I can find that out for myself.
Yes.
I don't need your help.
Okay. Let her rip.
I'll find it out for myself, and I'm sure the listeners will be involved in emailing us what they think of it and where to go and what they thought was particularly bad. I'm sure the listeners will be in on it.
Netflix Sunday night. I mean, if it's 3 hours long, just tune in. Just lock on.
Yeah. All right. We will be back to finish things up in just a moment. because I always mention the Cat Williams Shannon Sharp interview where Cat Williams just goes ballistic. Says Freddie, I started with the 8-minute best of Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay. Quickly decided it's not enough and graduated to the hour-long one. Now I'm chasing the dragon for their full 2 hours 45 long episode.
What is Shay Shay? Because Tony the Orkin guy mentioned that to me yesterday.
It is Shannon Sharp's podcast.
Okay.
And I will continue. I'll go on to explain this. I haven't heard
Please.
Cat Williams speak since he had that green sit on 25 years ago, but if you watch minutes 3 to 6, he eviscerates Shannon, and I think podcasts in general. Cat backhandedly tells Shannon he does not research on his guests. He does no research on his guests and allows them to say whatever they want, whether it's true or not. Cat promises to tell the truth, then proceeds to lie to Shannon's oblivious face for almost 3 hours. I'm sure some of it's true, but I call into question the Illuminati recruiting Cat and Ludacris, and the only one of them to say yes is in the Fast and Furious movies. And then he goes on to say some other things. He goes, I emailed recently sticking up for people trying to make a living on podcasting, but I think doing this, Cat makes a great point about how dangerous podcasts can be when you claim to have an, quote, open forum for the truth and don't know how to police it like a professional interviewer such as yourself. Hey. Similar to music, I think it's good that the gatekeepers can't hold people back anymore and more voices can be heard. At the same time, some people need to be told they're amateur and don't need to be doing this publicly for their own sake and others. Tough to find a middle ground, though. He's right about, like, one thing I don't like. There's two things I don't like about podcasts is, A, people listen to them and then think that they know everything about the subject that was discussed. Because, like, it's just like you walk the dog and, like, listen to something for 2 hours. And the second thing that's the problem with podcasts isn't a problem that like, me personally. It's just that if I was doing a podcast, like if I was a celebrity doing a podcast, I'd be a little annoyed that literally every celebrity has a podcast because it floods the market and then it becomes impossible to navigate. So if you want to have a podcast yourself, like you're just like a regular person who just goes, I want to have a podcast, and you're doing it for fun, that's no different. Great. That would be like being a ham radio operator, and Gary Shandling was. I mean, that's fine. Like you can be, I don't have a problem, obviously. Whatever your hobby is, do your hobby. I'm talking about just like legit. Like if you could think of a guy, dude, the Joy Lawrence brothers have a podcast. Like everyone, the Boy Meets World has a podcast. Every Nickelodeon show has a podcast. They all, like anything that was an original, like seedling of an idea has now been pumped. And by the way, like Mark Maron revitalized his career doing the Mark Maron podcast. He was the first one, and it was a long form interview. Is everyone so effing unoriginal that they just went, okay, so say Mark Maron started that 15 years ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago. So they just went, oh, okay, that's a podcast, a long-form interview. So every effing podcast is just going to be a long-form interview? That's boring. They're boring. No one, very few people are that interesting for that long.
And they're kind of lazy in that you can just sit there and talk and you don't have to worry about editing. It's like, oh no, we want this to be really long. Leave it all in there. So you're not concerned with getting the best stuff out there first or structuring it in a certain way. I'm kind of with you, Fred. If someone wanted you to do a podcast and you were already a celebrity, okay, if you're going to get paid either way, fine, do it or don't do it. But my first question would be, how am I going to get anyone to listen to it?
And it's just bad for the business. Like, I would be so aggravated if I was like a guy. Because how many podcasts have broke out? How many podcasts over the last 5 years have, like, broken out for real from celebrities? Smartless, and that's it. Like, the every Odyssey podcast seems to have failed when they threw all the money on those. None of those seem to take off. I can't imagine a lot of people are really listening to what Dax Shepard has to say. But then again, he was one of the first people, celebrities. But if you name a show, and I can tell you if they have a podcast, and Google it, and I guarantee you they have a podcast.
Yeah.
New Girl podcast. I mean, anything.
Yeah.
And another thing I don't care for, and it's really bothering me, is I love Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, if not my favorite show of all time. It is certainly in the top 3. And that Welcome to Wrexham. Oh. Our heroes are multimillionaires that bought a team, and now look at them. They're spending money. Like, okay, you're real heroes.
No, mine is the Always Sunny and Fire Country. Those are my two.
That's right.
But go ahead. What's your problem? What's your problem?
I'm just picturing a town in the deep south full of redheads.
Okay.
Donnie Most is their king.
What's your problem related to It's Always Sunny?
Welcome to Wrexham. The guy, one of the owners, it's Ryan Reynolds and then Rob McElhenney.
Rob, is it Rob?
Yeah.
McElhenney.
Rob McElhenney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
The
don't
show.
like that.
Okay.
The show Welcome to Wrexham.
Oh, I thought you were doing a joke or something. I didn't know that was it. I didn't know.
No, if it was a joke, you would have been dying laughing. You would have known. You'll know when a joke comes.
Yeah, because you're the one laughing the hardest.
He's got a, for a Friday, this guy, you can tell that he's got
Feisty
you can tell
Friday.
he's got a honey-do list this weekend.
Well, according to Hardy, he likes that stuff. There are tasks that need to be done, and he's going to do them.
I'm a little pissed off. My neighbors who are having the derby party tomorrow thought they were going to need my help in cutting their grass today. Turns out their landscapers showed up this morning, so I can't swoop in and be hero with my Toro Time Master when I get home.
I'm sorry.
And I have to cut my own grass, and it doesn't even really need it. And now I'm all horny to get the mower out.
Is that a riding mower?
No. I walk behind.
Can you stand on the back of it like the cool landscaping ones?
No, but wouldn't that be awesome?
I mean, it would certainly be more fun than riding one. I mean, if you could stand on it and ride it than sitting down and riding it, like old school jet skis.
I have a new backpack blower that I absolutely do not need. And
where'd you find the little person?
I fired it up yesterday.
Fits in a backpack.
It is so powerful that once it's going just on idle, it's hard to put the thing on because it's blowing out the tube and it's kind of moving you back in one direction as you're trying to strap the thing on.
Okay.
It's a steel. I don't know what I don't know what model.
It's steel? Well, in that case.
All right, Scotty Z is here. Scott Zolak. Hello, sir.
Hold on a second. I have to answer my phone to sign in to our.
To get into the computer. It's very high security over here. By the way, our show
Two-factor
is brought to you by
Two-factor
FanDuel
authentication.
Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hello, Scott.
Hi, guys. I'm going to a derby party tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
You're dressing up.
I am dressing up.
You going down to Louisville?
I'm just using white. I'm wearing white jeans and a checked pastel shirt.
Oh, if you can wear white jeans, then I would have a million pairs to wear.
I wear white jeans.
Yeah, they're awesome.
No hat.
Oh. You're not going to wear a hat, Scott? No. Well, people are going to be expecting that from you. And you're
the
gonna
men don't wear the hat. It's women, right?
No, men wear hats. You saw it with
really?
Brady.
Oh no, you're boy toy Brady there. Him and his little buddies when they all play dress up and drop
Melcher and Edelman. They can't do enough with
Ortiz,
hats.
you're right.
Drop Molly and all went and painted each other up after the post derby party.
Molly winning like 240 jeans, just passing out wads of it.
Yeah, and then waking up the next day and going, "What did I do?
I'm suspended." Oh,
yeah.
How did I get suspended?
Why is this all happening?
Why did I test positive?
You're wearing white jeans tomorrow?
Yeah.
How is that going to work with your
prior to Memorial Day? Correct.
No, with your other wardrobe choice on a daily basis to not wear undergarments.
I don't wear anything with those either.
Yeah, well, that could be a real issue.
I'll shower before it. I'll be nice and clean.
I know you're going to shower, but what if you have yourself a little old accident while you're wearing the white jeans?
I'll head home and I'll take care of it and I'll come back. I had 3 pair.
You're not afraid of the zipper?
Oh, it's happened a bunch.
Yeah, because that's part of the.
I rush. I'm always rushing somewhere, and
yeah, you're not afraid of the zipper and then that can be a whole situation.
Yeah, it is.
I learned that when I was a kid. I also
awful.
learned about what tight shorts can you do. It can actually invert you.
We got Feisty Hardy today. Hardy's back, baby.
Yeah.
That is He's taking control of the show.
Lots going on.
He's in a real sour mood.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think he showed his best self today. Something's going on in his own life.
I think it was fine.
Yeah.
No, I think that he's got something going on in
Why
his
you
own
leave
life.
Mike Gorman hanging though? Like,
Oh,
you
that's
never want to know what the dude's around. Like you finally you got him on the show a bunch. Like now's the time to strike. Strike while the iron's hot. Or you wait till he comes back.
I've known him for 10 years. Strike while the iron's hot.
Know him?
Huh?
How well do you know him?
Mike?
Yeah.
He's more than an acquaintance. I would say he's a friend. He's not like someone that I'm going to see like once a week, but he's someone I go out with. I play golf with him sometimes, like probably 2 or 3, 4 times a year.
Kidding. Oh.
Yeah, 4 times a year I hang out with Mike.
So you do know him. Okay.
Yeah, I do know him. Dude, I don't run around claiming I know everyone. I don't know many people, but Mike I do know. I don't know how it happened, but we ended up being friends.
It is sad, though. You lose Mike Gorman, Jack Edwards, all in, like, same year. It's tough.
I wonder if
Two
Jack
big
feels
play-by-play
bad
guys.
that they didn't make a big to-do about him as they did about Mr. Mike Gorman.
Well, Gorman, they knew, and they had like months and months to
Sometimes
figure
it's
out what they
over
were
the
going to
top.
do, and even Mike told us if he had to do it over again, he wouldn't have made the announcement.
He said, I've went back and forth with him, talking to him, and he's like, I just, me, I don't want this. I don't need this. He said, I'll get emotional, I'll get choked up and all that, but
when are you going to make the announcement, though? Prior to the start of this season?
No, till they tell me I'm gone, baby. I ride that bull.
You could see
Buckle
yourself
up.
doing this at like 70, doing the games.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Gino did till 78.
I was just
I'm
going to
like,
say,
no,
Gino
no way,
was here
Jose.
for a long time.
At some point, she's gonna be like, "That's enough."
So 78 is the cutoff.
Probably 70.
I just said, would you do it when you were 70? You said, yeah.
Depends how
hell
good
yeah.
I am. Can I still see?
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
That-
you
I mean,
you
that
can
is the
talk.
big thing.
The problem is at that
You'll
point,
be able to talk. See in the field.
misidentifying guys. That's yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's a hell of a run.
What do you got going today? Are you going to talk about the excitement that is the Boston Bruins?
Oh boy, did they choke! Jesus.
I saw your tweets. I couldn't have agreed more.
I'm pissed.
I didn't even know what some of
I
them
thought they were gonna win. I was with Hardy. I thought they were gonna win last night.
I was convinced right about until the
puck
6
drop.
minutes into the first period.
pretty
Three
much
shots
puck
on
drop.
goal in the first two periods. Of these last
Toronto
two
had
games.
control of the puck for the first 5 minutes.
I don't
That was
think
a problem.
they have a shot tomorrow.
No,
No.
not a chance in hell.
There's
they
not
would
a
take
chance
it.
in hell they win
No.
tomorrow. No, it's over.
That's what we got.
All right, enjoy your weekend.
All right,
Again,
guys.
make other plans around the Bruins game. Like, I understand you're going to be curious, but don't make it your only thing. Be able to like, even if you're home alone, like, just put it on a computer and like to your side and watch a movie or something. That's my advice. If you think I'm focusing in on that thing, you got another thing coming. All right, that'll do it for